Welcome back to the Bourbon and BS podcast, everyone. This is episode 350. We hit a milestone here, and we have Sean Wilkinson and Nate Hale in the garage here. It is January. We are cold, but we are here with you guys this week, and hope you guys enjoy the show tonight. We've got some good stuff to have on part one here, and then a few so far. Talking points for part two, but I want to get started here. Thank you guys very much out there. Patreon.com/bourbonandbs podcast. Definitely check that out if you would. We appreciate the continued support from everyone. And also, if you want to do Venmo at Bourbon and BS, that helps us keep this thing going. Do things like StreamYard, like we are streaming live now on Facebook and YouTube live right now. So thank you guys very much for that. We also want to thank our sponsors, Tinder Box at Easton in Columbus, Ohio. Tinder Box at Easton in Columbus, Ohio has our featured cigar, the CLE Maduro. This is something new. It's going to be kind of a mashup of some other cigars they were making. We'll talk about that here momentarily, but this is 2025 release from Christian Iroa and his team. That's available at Tinder Box at Easton, as is the Asylum line and other CLE and Iroa products. We're going to have them at the Smoking 10 event on March 15th. So Nook will be there representing CLE and also Asylum cigars. So come out, check that out. Tickets will be available starting at the end of this week. So hopefully by Friday, you will see the updates on all the social media and email for that. So check them out. And also Altadis USA. Altadis USA, we've got a hodgepodge of things from our rep, Dave Welch, who's been on the show many times. I have a Monte Cristo 1935 anniversary. Sean has a aging room Sonata for part two. And then Nate's got an old classic here. What do you got there?
This is the H. Upman Vintage Cameroon, which I didn't even know they still made the Cameroon, or if they still make it. Yeah, I happen to really enjoy Cameroon. It's been a long time since I've had that cigar.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad we have a little.
It even looks like
for everyone.
Old packaging.
I know. He'll probably be like, yeah, that was from like 19. Yeah. Like, whoa. But yeah, thank you very much. And also be a Cigar Company. The gold and silver are available. Gold is made by Plasencia, and the silver is made by Espinosa Cigars. So definitely check those out. Be a Cigar Company. And then also these guys have some of the swag on. I'm sporting the Asylum, kind of the brand we're doing tonight. But if you guys want to go on buyjack.com, that is byjack.com/bourbon and BS for any of the swag. Excuse me, Sean has the BS cigar hoodie on with the Nicaragua colors there, the blue and white. And then it looks like Nate's got the barrelhead holy camouflage hoodie there, the zip up there. So that's available, as are a lot of the different T-shirts and three-quarter sleeves. So check out that as well. That is going to be shipped directly to you. And Ray's already asking questions. Will Nate be whittling an ashtray during the show? It must be your get up there.
Yep. Yeah. You can make fun of my get up all you want, Ray. At least I'm fucking warm.
And we've started.
Yes, we have.
And as always, ask any questions on the comment feed or throw out comments, not just questions, as we're seeing already. So we appreciate that. And then obviously we want to ask you guys to share, like, all that good stuff. Comment, review, and subscribe on all the formats you enjoy listening to our show. And tell your friends. Sean, how are you?
I'm good. Okay. Good. Been a decent week, and very, very cold here in Columbus, Ohio, past few days.
It's going to get worse.
Yeah, and then they're calling for some hellacious storm that's going to be apocalyptic, but probably when it happens, we'll get a couple inches, which I'm okay with. When I was younger, I was all excited about doing that. Like a big storm, no school. But now I'm like, this is just a pain in the ass now.
You work from home, right?
Yep.
All right, calm down.
Yep. But I am kind of excited because I have a nice snowblower. I want to try it too.
Yeah, me too.
So,
I got the new one there. But you do have to worry about your, obviously the travel with all the flight paths and everything.
That's kind of what I'm concerned about, especially when it hits Texas and southeastern U.S. I mean, these guys have no equipment for de-icing or hell, even getting the roads cleared off. So if that happens, it shuts down. And unfortunately, when weather like that happens, people ended up passing away because of it. And
that's terrible.
We're going to have to wait until this shit gets cleared up, and then we're going to be busy. But it's kind of you look at outlet like weather things like this kind of differently when you work for a company like that, knowing what you're doing. So it's kind of a risk reward bittersweet because you don't want it to happen to people, but it's
No,
inevitable.
of course not.
It's inevitable, and then you have to deal with it. So
Absolutely.
So quick story though, real quick, be very fast. The last time I got
this whiskey while you're talking,
go
then.
for it.
Okay.
While was this pretty cold the past few days? It was, I'm going to say 7 years ago. It got like even colder than this. And I went out and I soaked a pair of jeans in water and then set them and just held them out for 5 minutes. And within 5 minutes, they were completely frozen solid. And then I would like take them and put them on people's front porches and then ring the doorbell and run away and then freak them out. So I didn't feel like getting out in the cold because your hands will freeze. So, but maybe we'll try it some other time. Maybe we can do it live on the podcast one day.
And now to our segment, Sean Around the Town. Sean, are your pants off?
No, but I am wearing shorts as usual.
Steve's going to be running around town with his laptop open for the camera.
Well, we could use other cameras for that. This is just all right. All right. Anyways, now that we've bored everyone, we are going to talk about the bottle.
Sure.
So the featured drink tonight is the Old Fitzgerald Bottled and Bond 7-year. And thank you, Nate, for bringing this.
Yes, thank you.
Is this a decanter bottle?
No, this is not. There are other products.
It looks like a decanter bottle.
There are other bottles, the 10, 11, 13, 19. Those, they all call them the decanter bottles because it's a very wide bottom to it. And then it comes up. It's got kind of like the same kind of shoulder and then a tall, thin neck.
Yeah. All right. But it is a cork that's not a decanter bottle there.
Yeah.
As well. Yeah. Okay. So this is a 7-year bottle and bond by Old Fitzgerald. What do we know about this, Nate?
So this is actually a newer product. This came out last year. This bottle, it actually says on the neck tag when it was distilled. So it actually gives spring of 2018. So
with bottle and bond, right?
Bottle and bond's got to be at least 4 years. This one is 7, as it says right there on the label. A lot less expensive than their other products.
Yeah, well, Fitzgerald usually carries a nice price tag.
Yeah. One of the reasons I got this bottle and I was excited when it came into Ohio, this is the only Old Fitzgerald that's not a lottery bottle. Like all the other ones, even though they're like 160 and then up from there, you have to win a lottery to be able to get them. And Ohio doesn't even get a whole lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
But this was something that came into Ohio last year as it's not necessarily limited, but there's not as much of it, and it does go pretty quick.
Okay.
I haven't seen it on the shelf. I know that.
Yeah, it comes in a 6-pack box. And the crazy thing is there's also a green felt bag.
That's how it's packaged?
Half of them.
Okay.
So in a 6-pack, you will have 3 bottles with the velvet bag and then 3 bottles without it.
Isn't Blanton's doing that with the boxes at some point?
Yep. Blanton's used to do that with the boxes.
Some are in a box. The other ones are just kind of chilling.
Yep. The Handy and Schiller bottled old fashioned. That one, it used to be half were in a tube and then half were not in a tube.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So Old Fitzgerald, what do we know about Old Fitzgerald, Nate?
It's a pre-prohibition brand. It's been around since late 1800s. It was actually one of the few distilleries who was making it at the time was one of the few distilleries that was allowed to produce medicinal whiskey during Prohibition. So they actually, the interesting thing about this bottle on the neck and on the main label, it has 2 DSP numbers.
Okay.
So most only have 1.
Right.
This has 2. The DSP KY1 is the Bernheim distillery in Louisville. So that's where this is distilled.
Okay.
And then DSP KY31 is the Heaven Hill bottling facility.
And they're under the Heaven Hill umbrella, right?
Yes.
This is one of their products.
Yep. It is a Heaven Hill brand.
Yeah.
So it's made at one distillery and then bottled at the Heaven Hill bottling facility. So 2 different facilities being involved, which normally you don't see that. Normally you just see
Heaven Hill,
whoever, the distillery for whoever's producing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you got transportation to move it from A to B
from Louisville to Bardstown.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Retail on this is a $60 bottle.
Wow.
It used to be considered expensive to me.
Not
because I make more money now, but just because everything's more expensive.
Exactly.
$60. Holy shit. That's like top shelf. Only $60.
Mm-hmm.
How times have changed.
And of course, because it's bottled in bond, it's 100 proof.
Mm-hmm.
Has to be 100 proof. Has to be at least 4 years old. It can be 4 and anything more than that, but it's always going to be 100 proof.
Sean, what do you think of this?
Very, very good. I got some interesting notes on the palate, or on the nose first. I got like a lot of like a citrusy fruit, almost like an apple or a pear, something like that. And then, Nate and I were discussing earlier about like, just let it sit on your palate. And my God, dude, once you do that, and then you finally swallow it, it stays there on your palate.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like butterscotch central, dude.
Yeah.
It's really, really good. I mean, it's just, and then even the finish is just as good in terms of like, it's not overpowering where you're, where there's not really much of a hug to me.
Yeah.
So, but just enough to let you know it's there. But man, and then the lingering of the flavor on your palate, if you let it sit there, lasts a good couple minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can just be like, that's why I was like, wow. Like I finally sipped it and waited a few minutes. I'm like, shit, it's still there. So really enjoy it.
I'm with you on that. It's a little bright up front. The first couple sips for me didn't really have much of like a punch, right? Some do. This is the first sip I've had this evening. I know you had a little bit of a pour of one of the things that Ryan Venerick from Watershed had brought before, but this is on a fresh palate. It's got some brightness to it, but then it does kind of mold into some of the classic, I guess, bourbon whiskey type of flavors. A little bit of the vanilla, the caramel. I heard you say butterscotch, I think, at one point. I heard at the table.
When it sits on there and then goes down the hatch, that sweetness level.
That's
that sugary sweetness. It's got pretty good legs too. Like it's got a great viscosity in the glass.
Yeah. Got that honey color too.
Yep.
Which makes you think the honey flavor too.
Mm-hmm.
Nate, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I agree. The first sip, and again, drinking whiskey in a colder garage is going to kind of mute some of the flavors. That's why I don't like drinking any spirits that have been chilled. I like mine at room temperature just because it opens up a little bit more.
Yep.
But like if you swirl it around or hold the glass in your hand, that warms it up a bit. But that first sip was definitely like, okay, well, is there anything really there? But then like as you go on, you start getting more bread notes. You get some nuttiness to it as well.
Yeah.
There's not much spice at all, which makes sense with the mash bill.
What's the mash bill?
So it is. You want to take a crack at it?
We haven't done this in a long time. I'm gonna do.
Oh yeah.
72% corn. I'm gonna do. I'm going to mess up the numbers. Shouldn't have gone with that. Easier math here. It's late in the evening.
All right, you got 28 left.
Okay, got it. I'll go. Say 28.
28 left because you said 72 corn.
22 rye, 6 barley.
Okay.
Nah, that's too high rye. I want to take it back. Go ahead, Sean. Damn it. You messed me up with the number game here.
I tried to make it easier.
It didn't. 78 corn. No,
I'll go 70. I'll do 80 corn.
Wow. All right.
right. You have 20 left. I learned.
Okay.
It's not as hard doing the math when you're not thinking about
I know. I'm trying to think of like
the ingredients.
I go 15 barley, 5 rye.
All right. So
I'm sure it's way off.
Yeah,
I'm new at this.
Yeah.
I'm a little newer.
Yeah. So you're both terribly wrong.
Thank you, Nate.
It is.
Said that nicer, but all right.
It is 68% corn.
I said 72. That's not that far off.
Hold on.
All right. Is it weeded?
12% malted barley. And then if you had seen the label, it is then 20% wheat.
Damn it.
It is a wheated bourbon.
All right,
The old Fitz is wheated.
I didn't know that.
Yep. So
Maybe
it's
let's practice that
20%
off camera.
We should look at the whole bottle label.
Yeah.
I think
that
there's some
pair.
hints there usually.
Yeah.
This is my first time having whiskey, so I don't really know. That would explain the lightness of it.
Yeah, why it's a little softer.
Yeah.
I was trying to give a little bit of that when I was talking about the bread notes that I was getting.
Got it. No, it's very enjoyable. $60, great looking classic, like kind of especially the top label on there. Very
with the shield and the key.
Yeah, the very vintage looking Old Fitzgerald there. The bottled and bond sticker on the bottom, not as much. It almost doesn't really match if you look at that. I feel like there's a little more shine and stuff to the bottom part that I see, like the white.
Opposed to the Old Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
label?
Like the two
Well, the
labels
bottom
on
doesn't
it.
have any of the red to it.
What's that?
The bottom label doesn't have any of the red.
Yeah, it almost like it's like the bottle and bond 7-year looks like kind of slapped on the bottle.
It's actually raised
After it's embossed.
Yeah.
Is the top part not embossed? Doesn't look like it.
No, it is.
Is it? Let me see it.
And then it's got that nice, like,
Of course, beautiful. Yeah, it's great. Look.
It's a wooden top to the cork that's got a bunch of triangular cut facets on it.
Yeah, if you're a D&D fan, you'd like to pick a good dice.
Just glue a couple of them together.
All right, so this looks a little bit better in the good light here on the shadows. This looks a lot more muted up top.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's got a little more pop to it, but it is still a little bit. Old Fitzgerald says, "Your key to hospitality" in the fine print there between. I don't know if you saw that, Sean, right there.
I did not.
So
Maybe surround the bottom with some of that red to kind of equal it out.
yeah, no, it just kind of looks a little the top, the neck, and then the main bottle and bond labels go really well together. The Old Fitzgerald, obviously the green's the same, but yeah, it just kind of looks like it. They slapped some new stickers on an old bottle.
Yeah,
does that make sense?
No, I get it. But yeah, like I said, though, this is
still a great look. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, newer product, and this is the first one that's coming in a bottle this shape instead of the decanter bottle.
It's unique.
Yeah. And as you can imagine, when we would get this in the store, most people would sit there and they want the one that has the bag.
Right.
And there were even some people that when all the bag ones were gone, they're like, "Do you have any more with the bags?" Nope. I'm like, "Oh, all right." And then they don't even get it.
Wow.
It's like, really? You're not bought. So if I had a bag, you would spend $60 on this bottle.
Let me ask you this: does it have a resale value? A secondary?
If it is, I think it's less than $100. Like, there's really.
I didn't know if there was like a secondary differentiating factor when it comes to the bag.
I mean,
like this is a bag bottle. This is not a bag.
The fact that there's people who are willing to buy it with the bag and not buy it without the bag, I'm sure there are some people that are willing to pay an extra secondary price.
That's the first thing that comes to my mind when people are being that picky about it, or they just want to give them a little bit of benefit of the doubt. They're not trying to make money on it. They want that for their bar.
Yeah. Display and show their friends.
Yeah, a little bit of that. Well, again, I mean, why would they put it on there if they're, there's no reason for it, right? It's, so, we're smoking tonight the CLE Maduro. This is something new. Like I said earlier.
You want to throw that up there?
Oh, sure. Thank you. That's why we need someone, a producer. Feature cigar, CLE Maduro. Very simple name, CLE, Christian Aroa. This is his kind of, I don't want to say core line, but it is because he's got the Aroa line. And then also, obviously, the sister company Asylum. But CLE has had some changes in their portfolio, like a lot of companies have over the last several years. But this is something that Christian kind of put out. They discontinued the CLE Azabache, and they took the wrapper off of the Azabache, and they put it on this cigar.
That's why it tastes familiar to me.
There's going to be familiar flavor there. They have kind of, I don't want to say old school, but they've kind of done that with this CLE core line. You have the San Andreas Maduro wrapper on this, and then you have a Honduran binder, and then actually it's a Honduran and a Colombian filler.
Okay.
So a little bit of uniqueness with the Colombian filler there, but what's not unique about this is that they took that Azabache wrapper leaf and they basically put it on the same guts as the CLE Connecticut and the CLE Corojo. So now you've got this line with those three in it that are going to be, like, in my opinion, the CLE Connecticut's got just a little bit more umph. Corojo is going to be straight medium. This is going to be with that wrapper leaf. It gives it a little bit more body to it, I think. Strength-wise, they classify it as full-bodied. I'm interested to see what you guys think of this cigar. But, yeah, that's going to be the makeup of it. This came with, and we didn't save to show you, it's got that tissue paper. So it's got a nice basic but yet standout band with this black and silver for the CLE Maduro here. and then it has basically 3/4 of it is covered by a tissue paper, which is now becoming kind of a signature move by Christian.
They've been doing that for a while instead of cellophane.
They have yes, they had, yeah, go ahead. They had done it on certain ones, and then now they have brought it across all the way.
So this label, is this the design of like
That's the new, that was
because
the
it used to
redesign.
be just like CLE, like just that kind of
correct.
rectangular
This is-
wraparound.
Yeah, this is going to be the new design all around.
Okay.
And they're coming in the same kind of style boxes as the Connecticut Corojo. And then it's a 25 count box, if I recall. And so this is, they rebranded it, and I like it. I mean, it's kind of, for updated packaging, it almost gives it a throwback. The old packaging, I think, with the CLE was a little bit more flashy, not as traditional, if you will. And then I think that's with them doing this CLE, you've got it on there now. And then now with their flagship line would be the Aroa line. And that's going to be a little bit, not flashy, but it's a little more pop to it, I think.
Yeah.
With the first 20 year and first 20 year Colorado. But that's also got the tissue paper on it.
I knew I could do that.
It's okay, Sean. We'll come back. We'll see you. Just set it down. Yeah, just set it down. Just come back to the show, please. Yeah.
Big ass. Sorry, guys.
But yeah, so this is going to have that classic packaging to it, which is nice. It's just a straight up like wooden box slide top now for them as well. So Nate, what do you think of the cigar?
First time I've smoked it. As soon as you said it, they took the wrapper off the Azabache, it connected. Because that wrapper, just like this one, it's a very toothy wrapper. If you smoke it and you let that ash develop a little bit, you'll start seeing like little bumps on the ash. There's just that bitey and toothiness to it. But then there's also, for me, the defining characteristic of Honduran tobacco, where there's this very woody dryness to the smoke. Mm-hmm. Like it kind of dries out the palate a little bit, and it's also kind of bright and clean on the palate because it doesn't necessarily sit around. Just that woodiness is a dominant flavor note that I get anytime I smoke something with Honduran tobacco.
I like that.
How are you, Sean?
Yeah, I that's interesting you said that. Like, these guys are like freaking geniuses when it comes to this shit. So I've been doing it for a while, but I pick up on a lot of what they say, and then it definitely has a dry kind of woodiness to it. I'm all about the retro. I don't know why I like it more than most people, but I think to me that's such a defining thing to have, to be able to really go past the normal exploring a cigar. So I get a lot of kind of like floral, maybe some earthy notes to it. And, for a full body, it's again, one of these things from 2 weeks ago was a full body, but it's not like, a lot of them you hear full body, like, oh shit, it's going to be strong on the palate and horrible on the retrohale. And this one just as good as the other one in terms of just the smoothness and being able to enjoy it. So all you guys out there that are kind of on the fence, if ever try to go anything heavier, more full body, give it a shot, because talk to the person that works there at the shop and see what you can come up with. And I'm surprised a lot by how much more. If I think at times I probably had missed opportunities not to have a more full bodied cigar, but I'm really enjoying it.
This one, it doesn't saturate your palate.
Right.
Like it's full body. It's got some pop to it, but the flavor doesn't necessarily.
Do you think the dryness keeps it from saturating palate?
A little bit of that Honduran tobacco, like like there's not much spice to this cigar. And I think also that Colombian tobacco in there kind of lightens that up a little bit.
Yeah.
That kind of gives it that refreshing note on the palate. But yeah, it's just nothing necessarily sits. Like it's not one of those that you just sit there and you taste it like for long after you've taken a puff.
Do you guys think this is full?
I mean,
maybe
strength.
No.
To look at it, you may think it could be because of the Maduro wrapper, and usually when I see Maduro, I always assume that it's going to be stronger, but I don't.
No,
I don't think it.
Medium full.
That's what I think. I think
this is more medium full. I think I think even the flavor is a little bit lighter in intensity than the strength of the cigar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was surprised when, the official, and this is something, Aaron Hall says medium. I'm closer to medium. This, what this reminds me of, obviously with a different flavor profile, but as far as the look and then calling it the Maduro, it kind of, I would be interested to talk to Nook or Christian, obviously, on this one, but how much Ligero is actually in this for the strength, because they've got it like up there, and they've got some cigars that I think are fuller than this, especially on the Asylum brand. But I almost compare this as far as look to body as the Ashton Aged Maduro, where it's a very dark wrapper leaf, but then it's going to be like a straight up, in my opinion, medium. But again, the Azabache I thought was fuller for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, they had some, other tobacco in that. I want to say that had even some Peruvian tobacco in that one. I think Nicaraguan, but it had that same wrapper leaf. But I feel like it had a little bit more punch to it than this does. This does have that kind of like the, not dryness, but very clean, woody kind of a flavor and a finish to it. But I've smoked a few of these, and I don't think it's all that like full. And then if I show you guys kind of what they've got here,
what was the CLE that was a step down in strength from the Azabache? Because like you had the Connecticut, you had the Chalet, you had the Corojo. What there was another one that had a black label, but then the Azabache had that secondary band underneath it that said Azabache.
I'm drawing a blank, but I know what you're talking about. But I mean, this just flat out says strength full.
Oh yeah.
Which I was surprised. But yeah, I'm trying to think what that was. There was a CLE Azabache and then another one.
Is there one that's orange?
The
Corojo
Habano was orange.
Oh yeah, the Habano. I forgot about the Habano.
Yeah. I don't think they make that anymore, but we'd have to find out here. Talking to Nook, from CLE and Asylum Cigars, I was like, we need to get you back on. He's like, I know it's been too long. He's been on remote, and then he's also been in the garage a handful of times over the years, but always a big supporter of the podcast. And so we appreciate that. What do you think, Nate, of the differences? I don't know, Sean, I think you were outside and also knocking things off the wall, but
yeah, that's what I aim to do. Go ahead.
Do you remember the old packaging of like the CLE Connecticut and the CLE? Like,
oh yeah.
So they have rebranded it. If you've seen the CLE Connecticut in the shop, it has the similar band as this, but it's going to be yellow. Okay. Where before it was just the kind of the boxed off and it said CLE and it had the tissue paper on it. Right. That. Yeah. So all of them we were saying is that. But do you guys like the new branding technique that they've done with this, or do you like the old?
Well, I like the one thing I do like about this is on the side of the band, it actually says Christian L. Aroa, because a lot of people sit there and they go, oh, do you guys have the CLE cigar, or do you have the Cleveland cigar? Because they think CLE is short for Cleveland.
Well, it's the airport identifier too.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, and I used to explain.
No one else thinks that.
Yeah. But I used to explain to people, like, no, that's the owner's initials. So that's the flagship line. But I like that they made it like you've got that curing barn in the band as well.
I like the look.
That's kind of cool.
You got the year that they were established on there. It actually says Honduras. So there's a lot more information just on this band than what the old bands used to.
Yeah.
And I think it does stick out a little bit more because the old ones, even though they were more colorful, they were a little flat.
There was always like silver with like red and black dot or something. Was that CLE as well?
Silver with a red and black dot,
or like it was like a red and black or red and silver dot, or I don't know. I thought I've seen that, but I could be wrong.
I'm not sure. They did have it was kind of, I think the old packaging was good. I think this is better. I think this is, again, more traditional. This is more elegant. I think the CLE branding before on the cigar, when you combined it with the CLE primary band with the tissue paper, it didn't have the polished look. I think it was a little bit more, it's not gimmicky. It's I don't know what the right word is for it. It's just, it doesn't have this history behind it, right? It almost looks like
cheap.
Yeah, but not cheap, not like bundle cheap.
Yeah,
It was unique. I give it that. But then when he he came out with their Aroa line, that was like, wow. I mean, it was apparent to me that it seemed as though this is us going up against Padron Anniversary in the 1926 series, as far as the layout, the look of it, and everything else that they did with that product. They almost just outdid the packaging, even though you can obviously respect Padron for keeping their stuff classic, very simple and all that stuff. But it was just they came out, it had some kind of hologram to it and everything. And then when you put that next to the CLE brand, it was just kind of, it didn't match up. This, I think, matches up a little bit. This isn't as simple, not to stay on the Padron train, but it's not as simple as, you know, the Padron series, you know, as far as the core line. You're going to have like the 2000s, the 3000s, and all that stuff. That's a very basic band. And then the Padron Anniversary ones, they step it up a little more detail. This is, I think, kind of in step of that. I think this is going to have a bit more of nice elegance to this. And then it almost like just is like, holy shit, this the 20th, like the first 20-year Aroa stuff. And this also, I think, is kind of you go from the CLE brand like we have here, the Maduro, and then you have the CBT and the classic Corojo, the CBT, not the CBT, but the Aroa classic. And then you have the first 20 years. So I think there's more uniformity throughout their line as far as packaging.
I think the tissue on there, that, like, I could look at a whole wall of cigars and I would be able to pick them out first just based on the tissue. So it's definitely catches your eye. And then you go further into it and go, oh, what do they have? You know, and then once you know what it is, I do like that they kind of have a good way of standing out. I mentioned this before the show. At the 10 event, you guys used to give these like 4-pack samplers, like if you were to, I think they even gave it to it, you know, before we had the booths and everything. But if you bought a sample, they give you this little box. It's about that big. It's like almost like a deck of card size, smaller, 4 different cigars.
Yeah, 4 Robustos.
Oh yeah, they had the 4 Robusto pack. Like, yeah, if you bought like 2 of their samplers, you went back. Or no, there was one year, I think it was, where when we were still doing general admission and VIP, the VIP got the 4-pack,
right,
and then the general admission got like the 1 cigar.
I just remember those were all really good, and I'm sure that's what they sell as well. But I just that's what turned me on to it, though.
Yeah,
was that little sampler pack? I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And so then I go back. You know?
So now all of those cigars in there, Azabache is no longer, but then like the Connecticut and the Corojo, I don't know if the Habano's in there or not, but those all look like this now.
Okay.
So they kind of went away from that.
At least
and I don't think they're doing a lot of box press right now. They're doing mostly round.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
From my understanding, originally the Azabache and the Chile were going to come back out as round cigars, and I think they went this route. And I don't know what it was, if they weren't selling as well, the Azabache. I don't know if they could, you know, do this more efficiently with just the Honduran and then the Colombian tobacco, as opposed to incorporating Peruvian tobacco in there. I would assume it would be both a maybe taste or success with the sales, in line with also possibly not having as much difficulty getting the tobacco to keep their core lines like the Azabache, right? So you have the wrap relief, no problem, but now you're using, hopefully, you know, maybe their own Honduran tobacco, and they have a line on good Colombian tobacco that now they can. Also, if you think about that from an efficiency standpoint, if this truly is the same or damn near close to the same guts to it, you're basically coming up with the core, the binder, and you have all of those. You send a bunch of them over to these rolling tables to put the wrap relief like this on. You send them over to the Corojo tables, and you send them over to the Connecticut shade wrappers, and you're just streamlining this thing.
Yeah.
Which would make sense to me. If there's going to be enough difference in the flavor and everything else, and you can have 3 different core products, and then basically you're just changing 1, maybe 2 ingredients, that's a pretty hell of a good way to have a business going there, in my opinion, if you have that kind of luck on the tobacco.
So they are part of they own the Asylum.
So yeah, yes,
that's where they have this paper wrapper too.
Right. So Christian Aroa and Tom Lazuka. Tom's been on the show before. Tom's a guest at the 10 event a lot of times. Christian's been there. Yes, Tom Lazuka used to be the Camacho rep when Christian owned Camacho for the Midwest, and so they knew each other very well. And then when Christian sold and they were going to start doing this, they became business partners and started doing Christian with this, Tom started up the Asylum Company, and they've been business partners ever since.
Okay.
Yeah, and Christian makes the asylums, but that's
Yeah,
Tom's,
at one
Tom's
point,
brain.
the asylums they were utilizing some Nicaraguan factories and a lot more tobacco there. They have since, to my knowledge, they have gone back everything to Christian's factories in Honduras and operating out of there primarily, if not exclusively, on everything. What do you guys? You guys talked about the cigar quite a bit. We can do the ratings here if you guys want to. We're a little early on that, but not a whole lot of questions. We have some comments, so make sure you guys throw those out there on the feed. We are trying to get back on a regular schedule here. Sean's going to be a part of the show here going forward as well for the 2026 year. So we had a little talk about that. So we're going to have 3 people at least every week. We're going to try to get some more guests lined up here. I do have one. Unfortunately, we're not able to line up until probably early or mid-March. I've got something cool. I didn't show you guys yet. It's actually in my trunk. It arrived in the mail today, but it's a cool program. I'm not going to give it away, but it's like blind tastings of 4 different whiskeys. Very polished look to the presentation, but I'll get that information as we get closer. We're trying to line up an interview with them who's sending these things out, and so you get these 4 bottles. But that's going to be a cool upcoming guest. If you guys have any ideas or for anything, topics, guests, anyone you want us to try to line up, hopefully we can get them on the show for you guys. And but we're going to be doing every other Wednesday. So at this time, let's go with the ratings here. We've got the whiskey, the cigar, and the pairing. Again, the whiskey is the Old Fitzgerald Bottle and Bond 7-year. This is going to be the CLE Maduro, new cigar, came out at the PCA last year, 2025. And Sean, go ahead.
I'll start out with the whiskey first. I like it, obviously. I do like, for me, I like bourbons and whiskeys that are like, you get a unique flavor and it's like, damn, boom, there it is. And I think this one really, like, it's not one of those you got to guess or like, what was that again? And you take, this is, you know what you get. So I do like that. I'll give that a 8.5 because I really am enjoying it. Looking forward to having some more. The cigar.
Thank you, Nate.
Yes, thank you, Nate. Appreciate it. The cigar, I'm probably about a 8.25. I'm okay with it. Like I said, I did get some certain flavors to it and certain notes on the retro. I am impressed with the fact that if they're saying it's a full, then it's sorry. Don't touch me there. Instead, have a safe space. Anyway,
Clicker in your pocket?
No, he
keeps clicking his lighter.
Sorry, it's a nervous tick.
You mean nervous?
Guys, stop it.
Cigar.
Right, yeah, cigar.
825.
825. Yeah, like I said, it's good. What's the price point on this?
So this is coming in, Toro's around 12-ish, 12, 13.
Okay, I could do that.
You're right at your average, your new average.
Yeah.
Price point here.
Yeah. I mean, to me, that's kind of low. When you like this quality of a cigar, I think it's a hell of a deal.
So you got to frame this too. Just
sure.
So this is your core line. You're coming in, I don't know, MSRP, but 12-ish, call it right there for a 654 Toro.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a 550. You got a 6x60. I think that's it. The 3. Then you have your Aroa CBT, the Aroa Corojo. That's going to be your next step up in his portfolio. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to have the first 20-year line. So that's going to be your premier one.
Okay.
So you're going to basically like 12 to 16 to 19.
Okay.
Or call it 12, 15, 16, 18, 19.
Okay. Yeah. That's doable.
So it's all within the 10 to 20.
Yeah. I do like their cigars. I like, anyone I've had from CLE did not disappoint. So, but yeah, 825, the pairing, I'm going to go with an 8. I did get a little bit more like when I did the, drew it, the cigar, and then took a drink. I didn't really get much, but when I did the drink and then retrohaled it, I felt like it accentuated both flavors of the butterscotch and the floral notes in the cigar, and it kind of hung there longer, like the new kind of flavor that I got. So I'm not, knocking or anything, but to me, it was about an 8. So that's how I see it.
Yeah. Again, none of us have had the bottle before tonight. Mm-hmm. Nate, have you smoked this cigar before?
I don't remember smoking. I may have tried one, but I don't remember smoking it because it was probably on a Sunday when I was smoking.
If I did, I don't remember it.
Okay. I've smoked the cigar. I hadn't had the bottle, so I mean, I didn't know where we're at with this as far as that goes. Nate, what do you think of the ratings here? Whiskey, cigar, and the pairing.
The whiskey. So again, this is a wheated bourbon, and there's several wheated bourbons out there. There's some very popular ones out there. So in my mind, I'm trying to compare this to some of those other wheated bottles,
Such as
Wellers. You've got the Weller. You got Larceny, which is also another Heaven Hill product. A big one is Maker's Mark is wheated. Green River wheated.
Yep.
So kind of thinking about those bottles and the flavors from those, and then this one, and then the price point, I'm gonna be a 7.
Okay.
It's a solid bottle. I wish for something that had this much wheat in there, it had a little bit more of that profile to it. Like there are some other wheated bourbons that I get a little bit more sweetness out of than this one that are wheated.
I agree.
And are lower proof. So like there are some other, like the Green River, I get a little bit more intense flavor, even though that one's 90 proof compared to this one being 100, and it's not as old. But that one, the flavor profile is fantastic. It's a solid bottle. It's also a $60 bottle compared to all those other ones I named off are sub 40. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a solid bottle. It's having it now, like the next time it comes into my store, I'm probably not going to pick up another one. It'd be a good gift bottle or something that I might keep if I have.
Only if it comes in the bag, though, right?
No, I'm not one of those guys. Yeah. No, it's a really good bottle, and I think it does a great job. And this may be what they were going for. It does a great job exposing people to an Old Fitzgerald when all the other Old Fitzgeralds are kind of out of reach for most people.
Sure.
I think the 13, when I first started in this industry, the 13 year was like $170. And, they only go up from there. I think now the 10 years, 160. So like, that's where the starting point was for this brand. So now it's like, all right, let's put out something that's more available to your regular consumer that isn't going to go out and drop triple digits on a bottle.
When did this get released?
Last year.
Okay, so it's a little earlier.
So it hasn't even been on the market for a year yet.
The reason I asked that, and then you can continue with your ratings, we do have some time in part one here, is that I'm wondering if they've got so much juice.
Like everybody.
And they forecasted somewhat possibly correctly that things were going to start slowing down. It's like if all we're doing is sitting on all of this stuff and the 160, you said?
Yeah.
For the 10? 160 and up range is going to slow back down. We need to get something out there that's more, again, 60 is not low, but average price with this name on it. Let's get these bottles out. Let's get this juice out there. Won't sit on it for another 3 years. We need to be able to get something out there on the market that, as things potentially slow down, which they are, as we're seeing right now in the bourbon whiskey market, we need to get a product out there that's going to be more readily available. That's not just like, this is something that I'm curious if the goal is to make it basically sitting there next to other Heaven Hill products, or like, your Woodfords, your Makers and things like that. This is going to be sitting on the shelf. So you walk in, you see a bottle looking like this, and you see a bottle looking like, not there's anything wrong with Woodford or Makers, but it's like you see that, but then you see this, you're like, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And so it's attainable price wise, like you're talking about. And this is going to get some of the juice. God, that's going to sound so bad. I was going to say the juice flowing. God, it was like rolling. You know what I mean? Like, but as I said, juice, I'm like, no, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's going to get basically some of their product out of the rick houses on the shelves and potentially increasing some more of that volume.
Well, and I think not to get off topic from the ratings, but I think that's something you're going to see in the market a lot over the next few years. You already have distilleries shutting down operations temporarily or for a year, or they're slowing production down because they have so much inventory. I think you're going to see a lot of them starting putting out stuff.
I'd almost oversaturate that price point too.
Yeah, and then and then from Heaven Hill, you're also already seeing some of their other products come down. So, a couple years ago, when the regular Heaven Hill 7-year bottled and bond became a shelfer, I remember when it
was hard to find.
That used to be an allocated and wait in line on that. And it was a $50 7-year bottled and bond. It's a great bottle. That finally became a shelfer. It came in right at that $50 price point.
$49.99. Then it went down $5.
It's
$5
now. Yeah, it's $40 now.
Yeah.
And it's on the shelf almost all the time. So I think, you're going to start seeing a little bit more of that from some of these really big labels, is because they're paying so much in taxes. They need to start getting that inventory out.
Yeah.
So they got to come up with new products, or they got to sell it to an NDP. So so 7 on the whiskey.
Yep.
And then the cigar, I'm a 7 on the cigar as well.
Okay.
Like I said, when I first lit it up, that flavor profile, that Azabache, and it's just the wrapper from that cigar. Like, I get that flavor profile. I remember what that cigar was like, because that was one of my favorites of the old core line, was that Azabache, which was also the strongest cigar in that core line.
Right.
This one just doesn't have as much body and oomph behind it.
Yeah.
It's got that flavor profile from that Azabache wrapper, that Mexican San Andreas Maduro. But then the strength, that medium full body is definitely not. And I think even the intensity of the flavor is not even as high as the strength of the cigar. But it's got the flavor that's there is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a solid flavor profile. There's just not a big intensity. In terms of the pairing, going from this cigar, I think it's because that dryness from the Honduran tobacco, going from the cigar to the whiskey almost resets your palate and kind of amplifies the sweetness on this bottle.
Yeah.
Even though the sweetness isn't there in the forefront on this bottle, if you smoke the cigar and then go to the whiskey, that sweetness is much more prevalent up front.
Yeah.
Whiskey to cigar, like, the cigar is then almost a little too much, because it just kind of, the flavor that is there is not necessarily, it's a little hot on the palate. And if I'm doing a pairing, like, I want them to go well together and kind of complement each other. The cigar to the whiskey works. Whiskey to cigar makes me not want to smoke the cigar, even though it's a good cigar. So I'm going to be a 7 on the pairing. So 7s across the board.
All right.
I hear what you guys are saying, and I hear what you're saying there, Nate, with that, the cigar to the whiskey. Definitely, I do like that. The whiskey by itself, it's a little, like I said in the beginning, it stays brighter.
A little muted. Whiskey by itself, it's a little muted.
It's a little muted, and I'm wondering, because you brought up the Heaven Hill. What is the blue and white? Is that 7-year as well?
That's 7-year bottle and bond, but that's not this mash bill. It's not.
No, it's clearly not.
Not a weeded.
And that's what I was going to say. That is punchier. That's got a little bit more body to it, a little bit more oomph to it, even though they're both 100 proof.
And 7 years.
And 7 years. So this whiskey, it's very pleasant, this whiskey, this bourbon. Very pleasant. I'll give it an 8. I mean, it's a good, I love the look of the bottle. I love the presentation. Like the idea. Old Fitzgerald does come with, like, we talked about, kind of this prestige of, tough to find. It's expensive. It's some of Heaven Hill's best stuff, in my opinion. Usually it's very highly sought after. I'm curious to see how this continues to do at this price point, because it's completely different marketing behind the look of this versus your Heaven Hill bottle and bond.
Mm-hmm.
Totally different looks. Like, if you don't know, you're not going to know these two come out of the same place, because they look completely different products as far as that goes. I really do like the Heaven Hill bottle and bond. It's always been one of my favorites, and I am happy it's gone down to $39.99.
Mm-hmm.
But no, for this being weeded, and we totally butchered the guesses on the mash bill, obviously, but 8. I think it's good. It's enjoyable. The CLE Maduro, I'm an 8.5 on it, because for the average price point cigar now, where we're at with this cigar, I do like the fact that it's got a lot of flavor, but it's not, in my opinion, super strong.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to have that. This is, I think it fills and hits a spot in a humidor that isn't really deep in options. So I think with what Christian has done with this blend and taking a little bit off of like the Aroa CBT. Now that's got a lot of strength to it, in my opinion. So this is going to look like a Aroa CBT as far as the color of the wrapper is going to be pretty darn close, depending on the box. But it just fills a nice spot that is lacking in options for Maduro with a richer flavor. What?
Prieto. That's what the
That's
CLE
the other
was,
one.
The
Yeah.
Prieto.
There you go. But yeah, this is I like this. I say 8.5. Yeah, 8.5 on that. The pairing, I would say, there you go, Sean. He's showing you the old school branding.
There it is. Yes.
The pairing on this, I would say 7.75. I'm right along with you guys for the most part on this. Not the best. I didn't know this was a wheated bourbon. I probably would have done. I wanted to do something on the newer side on the cigar when I was selecting the cigar. I didn't look into this. You just said Old Fitzgerald 7-year. Are all the Old Fitzgeralds going to be wheated? Do you know?
Yes.
So I didn't know that, and so that would have been maybe a different.
So that was
cigar
something
I would have picked.
That was something that the founder of the brand wanted to do. He called it a whisper of wheat. But yeah, that's something that he wanted to do, was have that. And then I think it was before Prohibition, it was actually bought by Van Winkle for 10 grand. Which at then was a shit ton of money.
That's a lot of money.
But I think it was definitely a good buy. Yeah. It's now part of the Heaven Hill portfolio.
Okay. And yeah, so I mean, I'm 7.75 on that. I think it's a good pairing. I do like, I think, going. I like keeping them separate better than together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sipping on the whiskey for a little bit there, or if I stay on the cigar, I think the cigar really builds more flavor to it on its own as well. If you stop, if you're not going back to the whiskey, you're just kind of staying with the cigar, I think you get a little bit more to it. I mean, there's more flavor coming from it, and you lose the sweetness of the whiskey, in my opinion, when you stay on the cigar. I just really enjoy it. So that being said, guys, that's the end of part one. We did the pairing again. We have the Old Fitzgerald 7-year bottle and bond. We have the CLE Maduro. Guys, cheers. We're going to keep this rolling if you guys are good, just to keep going. But we'll roll into part two here, guys. Cheers. Happy Whiskey Wednesday. Clinky, clinky.
Stinky.
I thought I asked if you were good to go.
Really? You had to end part one on that?
We just roll through it anyways anymore. So anyway, it's a good time to remind you guys to ask any questions on the comment feed. And then also I want to thank our sponsors again, Tinder Box at Easton in Columbus, Ohio. Big event coming up. The ticket's going to be posted, all the information as we have it, always subject to change. We're going to add usually to it, hopefully not take away, but Smoking 10 event, 13th annual is what we're calling it. So Smoking 10 event 2026 is coming up March 15th. It's a Sunday in Columbus, Ohio. There will be 250 tickets available, where I actually have a few sold already, even though they're not on sale yet. There's people that couldn't wait and wanted to pay for them. So tickets will be $225 plus tax. And you should get, give or take, 14, 15 cigars, maybe more. And then also amazing raffle. There's brunch, lunch included. There's going to be Q&A with some of the industry leaders. We have Eric Espinosa. We have Amanda McAuliffe coming. We have Renier Lorenzo, who's the owner of HVC Cigars. Spoiler alert, we're going to have HVC at the 10 event for the first time, along with other cigar companies like from Altadis, which is another sponsor of this podcast. We're going to have a, hopefully, new Romeo Julieta's coming out. It's not out yet, but we're hoping to get that at the 10 event. We're going to have Placencia back. We're going to have, like I said, Eric Espinosa's there, hopefully having a new cigar from him, if we can get it there in time, that I smoked. It's a new Laranja.
Oh, shit. Is that the one you said the Tasty Tuesday?
Nope.
That's not, okay.
Nope. No, that
I shouldn't have even said that, but it's not released yet. It's not even talked about yet.
You're naughty.
I'm just
You're
saying.
naughty little.
There's going to be a lot of reasons to go to the Smoking 10 event, March 15th. Again, also, BS Cigar Company will be represented there as well. Gold and silver. Gold is made by Placencia. Placencia will also be there. Silver is made by Espinosa. We've already covered the Espinosa. Will be at the 10 event. And then also you guys, patreon.com/Bourbon and BS podcast. And then also Venmo at Bourbon and BS. We appreciate the continued support there. There are tiers on the Patreon page. I think we have about 5, 10, and 25, something like that. As far as if you guys want to do the continued support, we appreciate that. And that also, you guys can get any of the swag at buyjack.com/bourbon and BS. So thank you, buyjack.com. Check them out for not only our swag at the Bourbon and BS page on their webpage, but they've got a lot of other cool things. They're based out of St. Louis, so there's going to be some local St. Louis ones there, but there's also some other brands there.
Yeah.
So really cool collection there. Great quality products, and check them out as well.
And they all ship directly to your house.
Ship directly to you.
Or whatever.
Made to order. All right. Part 2 is where we kind of keep smoking and drinking here.
Yep.
And with you guys out there. Once again, any comments or questions, put it on there. Share, like, comment, review, and subscribe on all the formats you enjoy listening to the show, and tell your friends. And this is what we're going to start off with. If you guys have any, throw them on the comment feed. We are mainly looking at Facebook. Let me double check. No one's commenting much on YouTube. I don't see a whole lot on YouTube. It is streaming live on YouTube as well, but our main traffic's coming from the Facebook page. But so we've got a few here. Sean, for his first time coming on, he brought a few topic and talking points here. And Sean, I'll let you lead this off.
Okay, cool.
What do we got? What can you see?
Yeah, topic is modern life making people softer or just tired?
Explain what you think that means, the modern life part of it.
I think with the softer part, I think a lot more people are tuned in with social media, and there's just a lot to take in. And so sometimes you're faced with a point where you're like, I got to watch what I say because I can offend somebody now. You know, no matter what side you're on, there's always going to be something that's going to be, you just got to be more aware of your surroundings and you know, and what you say. And I think that, I guess,
is that what you're considering modern life, or is that what you're saying? People are getting softer.
That's just one. I mean,
okay.
But I think in general in life, yeah, I think the softer part is now you've got the Uber Eats of the world. You can have your grocery. You can never leave your house. You can go grocery shopping. You can get shit delivered from a restaurant in 2 clicks of your phone.
Yeah.
And I always think of that movie, like Ridiculous. It's with Luke.
Idiocracy.
There you go. Where people just get so lazy or so dumb. Or there was even another movie, like I think it was Wall-E. It was a Disney cartoon.
Wall-E.
But they go to that ship, and everyone's like doesn't even walk anymore. They just lay down there. They're all overweight and they're just lounging. And
the movie Surrogates too. Is that Bruce Willis?
Maybe. I don't remember that one.
They're like basically they're just in pods in their apartments a lot of times, and they have like their surrogates, which are basically like more or less like artificial bodies and people that are out in the world.
Yeah, and speaking of that, there's now these AI things where you can build your AI twin and talk to somebody, so you could essentially just be by yourself and have conversations with your AI twin or whatever. And it takes away from like all of that shit takes away from just getting out and doing something. My wife even sent me this thing this week. Is like we get caught in these old ruts of the same thing every week, and or day or week or whatever. But sometimes it's good to just take a step away from like something you normally don't do. Like if you don't walk in the park, go around the park, walk around and do something different to kind of just mix things up. And I think it's so easy now to not do that. But I think it's also by doing that, there's not as much motivation. There's not people actually getting out there and doing certain things. So it makes them tired because they don't have any, they sit around.
Oh, so you think it goes hand in hand?
Yeah. I think I'd like to say that. I mean, I think, everyone's got a certain level of, some people may go out, but they still use Uber Eats or whatever. But I think certain situations nowadays make it a lot easier for you to get softer. And then once you get to that point where you're always doing that and not doing anything, even physically after, to like walk around your fucking house, I don't know, but like something moving. Mm-hmm. And then so people get that, and then and as a result, they become more tired more often. So I think it also goes hand in hand. Mm-hmm. So, okay. What are your guys' thoughts?
Nate?
Well, I think one of the issues, like yes, I think there's a lot of things going on. You brought up like you can't trash talk. There's a friendly way, like when we were all growing up, that we all used to have our group of friends that we trash talked each other. Yeah. Like we all used to rat on. I mean, hang out in a cigar shop.
Yeah.
And you'll really see that come out. I mean, you have guys that'll sit there and just absolutely bust each other's balls. Sometimes it might go a little too far, but then they all show up again the next day and do it all over again.
Yeah.
Like there's a bond in a building with that. And I think now, people react so negatively to that, or they don't know how to actually absorb and take that. They just sit there and go, oh my gosh, this person's being offensive. It's like, are they trying to hurt your feelings, or are they sitting there trying to make you laugh?
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing to, make that person laugh. It's another thing to make them the butt of the joke at their expense.
Push too far.
Yeah. But no,
or have malicious intent.
Yeah. A lot of people, it's like, dude, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. It's just like,
it's just easy. No.
Well, yeah, it is. Well, and you have people that, they'll do one of two things. If you push it too far, they'll either just completely break down and start crying. You're like, oh shit.
Fight or flight.
Or they're sit there and all of a sudden they want to start a fight with you. It's like, wait a minute. Like, that's not what we're doing here.
I think to me, with what you said about the being in the shop, I think for me, why I'm drawn to it so much, and I've been to quite a few just with traveling and stuff, but it's like, it's almost in a way nostalgic for me because you can bust balls knowing it's all in fun. And I remember Eric saying, like, one of the coworkers from Tinder Box, he was like, you don't really get upset when people give you shit. I'm like, no, but I enjoy it. I mean, I think it's funny. You give me shit and I take it, and it's like, to me, and I sit back and just think about it, and if I can get them later, I will. If not, no big deal. But it's just, it's like being with your bros or your friends, or what, it doesn't have to be guys, it can be women or men. And it's just one of those, you can be yourself. You can let your guard down. You can relax and just kind of be connected in that moment. And I think that's why having a shop and belonging to one, or going to one if you smoke cigars, is such a vital thing as part of your experience in the industry itself.
And, because I think, at least in this country, we, over the last 100 years, we've had so much of the like mining and manufacturing jobs move elsewhere in the world. There's not as much of that done here. So, most people our age and even younger, they grow up working in office buildings, and, they don't necessarily get their hands dirty. They don't necessarily put in a lot of backbreaking work like construction guys do or stuff. Yeah, you want to see ball busting, go hang out at a construction site. But I think that's part of having all these conveniences, but then also this safety bubble around you is what's made people kind of soft. But then on the flip side, the just tired part, I think there are times where people just, like, they put too much on their plate instead of doing something to just chill. They feel like they have to be doing something all the time, or they sit there and they just scroll on their phone until 3-4 o'clock in the morning, and then that's why they're tired. It's like, oh, because you just sit there and stare at your phone and you wonder why you can't sleep.
I'll go. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's good.
Okay.
Put up here as food for thought here. Ray Chester out there says, I guess you could argue that life has always gotten easier. We had it easier than our parents, grandparents, etc. It's called evolution. Is there a point at which it becomes self-destructive? Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. That leads me to what I was about to say, is like, I fell in a rut with like almost every other night during the week. If it wasn't a podcast, I would just go out by myself and have a fire and smoke a cigar. But then all of a sudden I look up and it's 6 hours later, and I'm like, I need to get to bed and get shit done. And it's like, as much as I enjoyed it, and it's nice to get out, it took me away from my wife and my kid. But it's an easy thing to fall into, especially when spring rolls around and the weather's perfect. It's like, hell yeah, I want to go outside and smoke a cigar. But then I kind of took it to a little further. Like, anytime it was nice, like, oh, I'm gonna smoke a cigar. And then that's when
that happened to me a week after Jess and I moved where we live now, because that has a screened in 3 seasons room.
Oh, yeah.
And we moved in there in May. So it was warm weather. It was nice. Like, I could sit out there, even if there was a thunderstorm in the middle of the day, I could still sit out there and be dry, have a cigar. Well, those first few days, because we were working from home, every night I was out there on the patio smoking cigars and drinking. And then after about 4 days, I was like, I might want to actually go inside and spend time with my family.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I think with this, to Ray's point, right? We have evolving, if you will. I think the current living population, at least in a lot of the world, first world areas, if you will, the technology, it brought in a lot more white collar jobs, if you want to call it that, right? So you had a lot, what Nate, you were saying, the office jobs. So you had a lot of this where during I'll speak just to my age range. So I was born in 1980, graduated high school in 98, went to college after that, grew up in the suburbs, call it middle class. That's always debatable on where you're at, but I was definitely in the area of middle class. What you need?
I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm going to go that way this time.
What
Knock shit. Okay.
You can get through. There's nothing else to knock down, I don't think. But yeah, so that was, we talked about it before on this show, is that if you weren't able to do college prep, if you weren't able to do like the next step, which was already, I think at that point in the late 90s, early 2000s, it was outdating itself to a point where by the time, so I had friends that were going into computer information sciences. By the time they got out of school, early 2000s, or even some friends that came out mid 2000s, the jobs were changing so fast and they were being filled so fast that it's like, yeah, go in this path. And then it's like, well, now there's no jobs for you because it was doing that. Fast forward to now, the vocational jobs, right, if you will, that was fully exposed, in my opinion, not only by the job market now where, and we'll get to this part about making people soft or just tired, but there was this point where now you fast forward where a lot of those jobs are also, technology has accelerated so fast and quickly that you're going to have a lot of those jobs in a sense go away. Now, what we can't do until you have the sci-fi is becoming reality of the robots being able to do some of the vocational work, or for the time being, if you want to spend the time, depending on the value of your hours in a day, you can use technology like ChatGPT to find out and get a quick education on what you could possibly troubleshoot your own things. But then you have to have the willpower to do it. What I think has also changed, making people soft, is going along the technology side of it, is that I think there is a sense of more entitlement because of all that stuff. You think of, we are living better in the first world where you have it where you can get things delivered to you. That was big city stuff out of necessity almost. At first, it created a lot of jobs. A lot of it is tech now, but I mean, you look at that. Who's delivering those meals? Who's delivering the groceries? There's people doing it right now. There's talk. Obviously, there's going to be more things being delivered automatically or through technology, but it wasn't that incredibly long ago that you didn't have, first of all, middle, even upper class people, if you want to go that route, having computers, having the technology to do all of this stuff. They had one car, if they had a car. They had a home, hopefully. Things have changed so much that you see people that are begging for money that have Venmo. You know what I mean? They've got an iPhone or a smartphone in their pocket. This is the things aren't lining up. So I think we've done it to ourselves. I think in more recent times, I can't speak to centuries ago, but I think a lot of times there's always the younger generation thinks that the older generation doesn't understand. The older generations thinks that the younger generation is soft, even though the older generation has made the younger generation soft by advancing things so much that it's like you gave the younger generations the technology, the ability to do these things that they're able to do. They didn't have to figure it out themselves. Yeah, they've got it handed to them to a point, and I think we're doing that in a lot of first world countries. Obviously, I don't think people are soft everywhere in the world because that's not a possibility because you just won't survive. But I think that was fully exposed in the last 5-10 years, especially in the COVID years, right? Yep. I mean, you had a huge social experiment. I'm not downing COVID entirely, but you could look at it as a social experience
accelerated it,
where you had the technology that a lot of the people, most, I would say not most, there was a majority, so yeah, you could say most people we'll talk to the US, that they thought you could work from home. Everyone can just work from home.
Yep.
It's not a problem. And then you start realizing it's like, well, I need my food delivered. Well, you need my groceries delivered. How is that going to happen? You saw people basically take for granted and not even think about it that, oh, I guess they can not work from home. That's fine. We saw it in the cigar industry. We talked about this where we said, production's really low because they had to slow down production because of COVID. And there was this absolute audacity that people were like, why can't they make the cigars? And it's like, because of COVID. Like it's not just you, like this is, so third world countries that make these products for you, they have to also hopefully be safe if you are looking at being safe. It's just, there is this, it's not ignorance. I think it's I don't know, some form of insulting attitude towards the fact that everyone thinks that things can be done easy, but then when other people want to do things in the same manner, they're like, well, not you. So I think that people have made each other soft. I think that we have enabled people to do that. I think there's a sense of entitlement there. I think that everyone thinks that they should be making more money. They think that they're worth more than they are without necessarily putting in the effort like you guys were talking about to a point. So I think modern life I think we're in a point of our evolution as a society, as a world, and everything else, is that everyone thinks that things should be, developing countries, excuse me, Ray.
Talk about song.
Speaking, right. The tired part, I would say part of it is it's all encompassing. I think that's kind of, Sean, what you were getting at, is that I think the tired part is that because in the US, not these developing countries as much, you've got nutrition that was completely bastardized by the mass amounts of food trying to be made in the cheaper way, adding more preservatives, I think in the initial part of it was possibly for the good. And then it turned into, okay, now we have more people involved. Now we have more companies involved. Now we have to like hit the quotas of the people that are making the preservatives. They want to sell it to you. They're making good deals. This will actually make it cheaper to make the food. It can sit on a shelf longer, yada, yada, yada. Is it going to hurt me? It shouldn't. Is the, short-term research will show this doesn't hurt you. Now we've gone years and years with it. And that's what a lot of the European countries, Ray, I'll say that I know of, is that they scaled back on a lot of that stuff because they saw the health risks that are happening. You see it happening in this country. It's polarized because of the politics in our country. That there's a lot of pushback, even though it's very confusing when there's a lot of pushback on taking some of the dyes and the colors and the preservatives out of this stuff, the chemicals out of this stuff, when the countries that a lot of people in this country look up to, in a sense, they've already done it, but no, bad because of this part of the politics. There's efforts being made that I think that we have realized that the tiredness, the softness that maybe we're referring to here, we've done it to ourselves. We've, in a sense, poisoned our minds and poisoned our bodies with a lot of the things that over the last couple generations, especially since probably the 50s, you've seen the diet go down. You've seen the exercise go down. Now, most families, a lot of them, I'd say, I don't know the statistics, they have 2 cars. So both, 2 and sometimes 3 cars. Like you have 3 cars in your family, Sean, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Everyone's able to get places. You can't necessarily walk everywhere in the non-big cities. And even in the big cities, you are paying someone to drive you somewhere.
Yes.
Even if it is a couple blocks. So there's a lot of that. And then you factor in one more thing that I would say is a big part of it. It's not only the exercise,
Well, look at weight loss in general.
It's weight loss in general. Yeah.
With all the shots now.
Well, and that's the
people not want to do the work, but they want the results.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, again, I don't see necessarily the problem with that. You're talking about like the GLP ones and stuff, the Ozempics and everything like that. Is you saw a shift there where what happens is, okay, you need a little bit of assistance because of the stuff we've been eating, the stuff I was just talking about.
Sure.
Now I want you to abuse that and stop eating, and then now we're back to the starvation just with science. Yeah. It's no longer, you don't hear about much because it's not even a need anymore of the bulimic type of tendencies that a lot of people dealt with in the 80s and 90s, where they were basically eating and then, throwing up, or what's the other one? Anorexia.
Just not eating.
Just not eating. Now people are basically doing a science-backed anorexia because they are not eating, because they are upping the dosage of some of these new drugs that are out there that are becoming more and more studied, that you can get a lot of benefit from it. But if you up the dose too much, you literally don't think about eating and have no appetite at all. And so we are now self-inducing from the Hollywood standpoint, if you will, of I can't believe I forgot that, but the anorexia type of a mentality. That's what we're doing. We're just, the people are doing it with needles, ironically, and forcing themselves not to do it through science, as opposed to just sheer willpower and lack of self-respect. Lack of self-respect, obviously, is still a little bit prevalent there, but I think that there has been a big shift on that.
Yeah, based on all my health problems, I tried it because it's hard for me to lose weight, and I did it for probably a good 6 months this past year on Zepbound, and I didn't want to eat. It's exactly what Steve said, but what made it worse is I ended up losing muscle mass. I lost the weight, but at what price? I lost muscle mass. I was tired all the time. I never really felt good. And then, to me, a blessing in disguise was the insurance stopped it and said, all right, we're not covered anymore. And I was able to maintain it, because then I was going back. I guess in a way it did help me, like, kind of have me, when I did eat, I was eating a little bit healthier, because that's kind of what I craved. But I've kept that weight off, because now it's more like it was more of a Kickstarter for me to continue not starving myself. I definitely ate more, but I also was motivated and had more energy once I started eating, oddly enough. And
weird.
Yeah, so weird how that happens. And then you start looking as food as a source of energy, of fuel. And then I had more energy to do things actively, like I'm going back to the gym now, where I'm doing a much yard work, where I'm picking up a lot of heavy shit and moving it, so, but there's a lot of people, I think the majority of people just do it, and then they get on their Facebook and Instagrams like, look how much weight I lost, and then it's like, well, yeah, but at what price?
Yeah, you look sick. The other part of it, just tired, what I was going to get to here real quick is there was also, I think, a shift as far as the mentality of, if you are resting or if you sleep too much, you aren't getting the most hours out of the day. You need to wake up way early, and you need to maximize and get maybe 4 or 5 hours of sleep. Like, we're not too far off from the social media push we talked about a few years back, where it was like the entrepreneur lifestyle. It's like you only need like 4 hours.
The grind, the hustle,
blah, 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 blah. If 4 hours. And now you see a lot more, I think, push where 7-8 hours, like, go get rest. Like, you are not built for that. And hand in hand, you looked at like things like we used to have, coffee. Remember, like, back in the day, it was, at the office, if you go that route, or if you're out, you're going to have the 2-3 o'clock, pot of coffee out, because you kind of, your morning stuff's wearing off. You had lunch. Now you're tired again. You got to make it through the end of the day, go home, be with the family or whatever you might do. Then you had the whole, caffeine energy drink boom, which is still going on. I mean, you're caffeinating yourself, you're putting a lot of sugar in you, you're doing all this stuff, and then you're trying to force yourself not to sleep, and it'll wear you down. And then goes into the again, hand in hand, that I think that you're not minding your nutrition, you're not minding the proven science that's out there. Again, ironic not to go down that fucking soapbox rabbit hole, but trust the science. It's like, yeah, fucking eat right, take vitamins, you know what I mean? Get some sleep, take care of yourself. Like, we had, I am sorry, it just kind of rolls out, but it's like, we had the top health officials in our country, I'm sure it happened in other countries, that was re-educating people that wash your hands for 20 seconds under warm water if possible. I mean, and they said with soap, like, because people were they lazy? Were they ignorant? Were they just like, I mean, it blows my mind that there's the basics that were being neglected and are still being neglected, that make you soft, make you tired. You're basically neglecting your body. And as you get older, it takes a lot more effort.
Learning that.
But I mean, a few months ago, there was a time I was like, man, why am I having such a hard time going to sleep? Like, I would go to bed at the right time, but I was having a hard time going to sleep. And so I was like, wait a minute. I get up, I have my morning coffee, and then while I'm at work, I can just run over to the kitchen and grab a cup of coffee. So, like, in the middle of the day, I'm grabbing a cup or two of coffee, if I was working until 9 o'clock, I was having coffee at 5 in the afternoon, even though, I got up at, say 10 o'clock. I'm having coffee at 5 and then trying to go to bed at 1. It's like, no, that's not working.
Did you look at your phone as you were going to bed too?
No.
That's good, because a lot of times people get on their phone and then that's a blue light that'll keep you up.
Yeah. No, I'm
guilty.
No, yeah. I try not to do that late a bit. I mean, there are times where I would go to bed, or especially right now with Jess and I having such polar opposite schedules. I'll come home and I'm like, all right, she should be asleep because of how early she has to get up. And then I walk in the bedroom and she's laying on her back looking at her phone. I'm like, you're supposed to be asleep. Turn that off. Like, put that down. Go to bed.
I've neglected sleep for the last probably year, and until about a few months ago, where my job performance was declining to the point where they had to write me up because I wasn't making good decisions and being quick on my feet, because I think my natural body clock was to go to sleep later, but that's kind of a bullshit excuse too. It's like, yeah, but you could also just turn your fucking phone off and read a book and it'll knock you out within 3 minutes. And so, but I chose to do that. And that I'm retraining myself, oddly enough, to get back to to be in bed before at least midnight. And if I can get 6 hours of sleep, to me, that's a lot. And it's sad that it's that way now, and then all of a sudden I wake up the next morning and I feel a little more refreshed. I'm like, now I am. And I'm like, wow, this is what that feels like when you sleep a good number of hours, and, but yeah, it's easy to fall into these habits where you just, your body gets used to that. And then I think the phone's a huge thing that'll really keep you up at night. If you even looking at a video for 5 minutes and you shut it off, you still got your head still trying to process shit you just looked at. And it's, you're not putting yourself in a state where you should be able to sleep.
I mean, about 8 years ago when we moved to where, to the part of town we're in, one of the things I made a rule of is we are not going to have a TV in the bedroom. And part of that was because, how many times at night, we go to bed, but then we turn the TV on to watch the news or to watch a late night talk show. Or we get up in the morning.
Watch late night talk show anymore.
I mean,
watch them on YouTube.
We would go to bed. We turn on the TV to watch the 11 o'clock news, and of course, it's just a bunch of terrible stuff going on. So then that increased our anxiety, made it harder for us to actually go to sleep. And then we wake up in the morning. The first thing we do is turn on the TV and watch the morning news, and
better stuff on morning news.
A little bit better, but then you would still have, hey, overnight there was this that happened. At 2 o'clock in the morning on this part of town. You're like, oh well, shit. And so you were ending your day like that. You were starting the next day with that kind of negativity. And so I was like, back then when we lived in Grandview, that was giving me anxiety almost every single night and every single morning. Mm-hmm. So I was like, all right, that's it. No more TV. But then we've replaced the TV in the bedroom with the phone in the bedroom.
Yep.
And, I still use an old school alarm clock. Most people use their cell phone as their alarm clock. And I mean, it's to that point where I almost had to sit there and say, all right, let's charge our phones, but let's put the phone somewhere else, not on the nightstand, because then it's just grab your phone and roll over. And then it's the same thing as having a TV in the bedroom.
Yeah. I think the phone can throw you in a deeper rabbit hole too.
Oh God.
Where TV is like you watch your show and you're done.
Yeah, you're doom scrolling for 4 hours.
I think people are getting more ADHD because of doing that, because it's like, oh, what about this? Oh, there's an ad I want to do. Oh, there's this thing they're trying to sell. Oh, that looks good. I could use that. And you're like, then it just turns it into a fucking shit show.
Ray put it out there that restaurants are making portions smaller and charging less because people don't want to eat so much and aren't prepared to pay so much for less food. A little ironic, don't you think? Sounds like Alanis Morissette.
Yeah, I noticed, at least here, is like when I go to restaurants now, especially since after COVID, people didn't go out, but I think because of a lot of the supply and demand had kind of diminished, or people were quitting or didn't have enough people to produce the food or whatever, the prices went up. like a normal meal that would cost you pre-COVID was maybe $30-$35, and now it's up to 60, 65, 70, especially if you get a drink with it.
I think this has been a couple different phases. I've never really looked at it that way, Ray. That's an interesting point. Up until recently, and his previous comment before that was he read recently that 1 in 8 Americans, I love to read so much about the U.S., 1 in 8 Americans are on a weight loss drug, and with women, it's 1 in 4. That's ridiculous. Then he followed up with this comment. You know, I feel like there was a time where the whole supersize me, that was what, 2000s?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
So that's 20 years ago now. That was out there because food was so cheap based on what I was saying, you know, with all the additives and stuff like that. It was so cheap to make all this stuff that was so unhealthy. And then to make it unhealthier, we're going to give you more for not much more money, and come to our restaurants. Some restaurants got on blast for that, right? You know what I mean? Because they were just, you know, everyone's now overweight and they're blaming the restaurants and all that stuff. This part, I didn't really put those two together. More recently in my mind, I think it was more the costs, like you were saying, Sean. It was the cost. I mean, I remember in this country is really big, you know, like the chicken wings, you know what I mean? The buffalo wings.
They're ridiculous.
Couldn't find them. Even like Buffalo Wild Wings, you know, BW3, they couldn't even get wings from where they were getting them from. So they raised the prices of it, right?
Yeah.
The smaller portions for more money.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know, you could call it the changing of the times there with the supply chain and everything else. The issue is, as always, is when prices go back down on the supply side, they don't bring them back down. So they're still expensive. And so I think people, I looked at it differently, Ray. I looked at it more. People were buying less because they were upset that you're getting less food and you're paying more. It wasn't because, and maybe you're looking at where we're headed right now, is that people don't want the bigger portions. They want smaller portions. They don't want to pay as much because they're, you know, being either more health conscious or they're on these weight loss drugs, which ironically, just recently, Ray, I know you're not in this country, but in the US, they weren't allowed to, because this is somewhat new to the mainstream. I'm not sure about, you know, Vietnam where you're at or other countries in Europe, but the FDA was really working on these peptides, semaglutide, which is Ozempic, and tirzepatide, which is Zepbound. Those are the two different like main ones. There's a new one coming out that's going to really be different. Sean and I have talked about this in depth. But what's interesting is that they weren't even allowed to really market it as a weight loss drug until just recently. They were marketing it as it's going to help you if you're diabetic, pre-diabetic, if you've got a high certain levels like A1C and all that stuff. It was all about bringing that down. And it was like, oh, by the way, it helped me lose a little bit of weight because you're getting healthier. The insulin resistancy or sensitivity that a lot of people in this country especially have had was due to diet, due to things that have led up to this point. And also aging, that also goes away. So they were being developed for these things. They're also being studied, like that new one we were talking about, Sean. Yep. The retatrutide. Won't get down that. I'll probably get flagged for that. This is for entertainment purposes only. And I'm talking, this is in the Eli Lilly stage. They're looking at, they just finished the third phase of the testing on this stuff. Wow. So these things are being studied, and then they're also being studied with like other things. Like, is it going to help with, you know, dementia? Is it going to help with other health things like joint pain and other things like that by working through your body? That is, as it, you know, we've done it to ourselves, but also as it ages, it'll hopefully help out some of those things. And weight loss is one of those things. We all know that, as you know, your growth hormone, we talked about that, you know, the growth hormone slows down, your pituitary gland slows down, your body ages and all that stuff. It's the hormonal changes in people as they age, that they start gaining weight, they start slowing down. It's not about,
it's easy to do.
It's longevity. It's not living forever. But I mean, a lot of these things are now being bastardized because they're going to help you lose weight because it slows down the way you digest things. It helps your insulin sensitivity and all of those things. It's just mind-boggling. Ray, I had not thought about that. Not something in the future. Yeah, I mean, interesting.
I actually saw there was an ad today for a new drug for people that have food allergies. It's like you can take it once or twice a month in case you accidentally eat something you're allergic to. It helps prevent going into anaphylaxis. And but the part that caught me off was they're like, yeah, this is for people as young as 1. And I was like, wait, we're testing drugs now on 1-year-olds? Like what? Are we marketing drugs to 1 and 2-year-olds now? Like what the hell are we doing?
What always baffled my mind with the whole weight loss thing, and I'm sure a lot of people deal with it, is you've got these guys developing these drugs left and right, and they sound like the miracle cure, and maybe they are, maybe they aren't, but the insurances aren't getting on board with it. So people still can't get it if you're going to have to pay full price and you can't afford it. It's like you would think that if you really want to get out there and make money on it, you would get with the insurances, or maybe not just charge $7,000 a month for certain meds. That'd be a good start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a better start.
There is a bill right now that could be approved that Eli Lilly and there's another company behind it that are trying to ban all the compounding pharmacies for the not official FDA approved Ozempic or the semaglutide and the tirzepatide. They're trying to, I think it's called the Safe Drugs Act of 2025, and they're working on trying to basically ban all that stuff, and they're saying that this will help drive the cost down because there won't be the competition out there. Which everything that history will show you is that usually does not work that way.
Big Pharma's not going to. Big Pharma's just trying
tell you that right now.
Big Pharma's being undercut by these people, and they were stopping them
Yeah.
so they can make more money. Plain as that.
So yes, no answer. Sean, is modern life making people softer or just tired?
Yes.
Nate?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes. All right.
Anyone do another one?
Yeah, might as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to. Next.
Let me try it.
This is the one you really wanted to do.
Yes. I'm hoping Ray chimes in on this. I'm sure he will.
Can you pass the bottle for this one?
Yeah.
Thank you.
What advice do people give that is actually terrible? And I'm sure this thing's going to light up like a fucking Christmas tree now. The comments from Ray. I'm excited to hear what he thinks. And anybody else out there watching, let us have it. There's a couple other viewers or people that are just logging in here and there. It's like, get involved with us, man. Comment. I mean, we're all throwing ourselves out there, and we could be right, we could be wrong, but that's how we think. And
we all have our life experiences
Yeah.
and our opinions, but it is nice to hear about other people because
I mean, just case in point, Ray brought up some things from the previous topic that was like, oh, I didn't realize that. Good point, Ray. So let us have it. So what advice to people that is actually terrible? For me, it's mostly kind of health things where, it's like, not people, but necessarily, I think more of like trends where it's like back in the day, it was like the Atkins diet. Oh, you should do that, man. You should really go out and do that. And it's like, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden you go a week into it and eating no carbs and strictly protein, and you have to be real, real strict. And then I couldn't shit for a week. So I was like, okay, that doesn't seem right.
Doesn't seem right.
No. So I started to feel like just off and not normal. And it's like, it's a lot of, and then people are so just in the world, people, just human nature is people are like, they see something that if you sell it the right way, they're going to try it.
Mm-hmm.
And it could, and it's like, do some research before you react to what somebody or people that are giving you terrible advice. And I think most people have in their gut, like, wait a minute, I understand what they're saying, but maybe do some more research. I think a lot of times people will blindly just go into it. And so, I don't know. What you guys' thoughts?
I'm thinking here.
Oh, okay.
What advice do people give that is actually terrible?
One that came to my mind was, it made me think about when I was younger and getting ready to finish high school. There was this idea that kept going around in our generation. Like, if you want to be any type of successful in life, you had to go to college.
Right.
Yeah.
Good point.
And, so go to college, riddle yourself with mountains of debt, come out, and there's a lot of people that get college degrees, and then when they get out of college, don't get a job in that field because they're like, all right, I need to make money in order to, buy groceries and have an apartment and
Yeah,
have a
my
car and do that stuff. So so they end up just getting a job. And it's like, okay, cool. There are things I think people do need to go to school for. There are certain professions where you have to have a secondary education. And so it's still important in that regards. But I think it's become too easy for younger people to just go off to school to study whatever they want for 4 years on something that has no market value.
Right.
And so now you just riddled yourself with $100,000 worth of loans, and you're going out in your first job, you're making 40 grand. And after 10 years of making the minimum payments on your loans, you still have another 80 grand to pay off.
I agree.
Like, it's setting people so far back that younger generations, if it continues, will never be able to get ahead.
And for the I'm sorry. I didn't
And you know, there are a lot of people that they graduate and then they're like, all right, cool, I just finished high school, I need to go get a job. And so they go get a job, and then they work their butts off. They move within the company, or they go to another place that's offering something better, and you know, they just work. And I mean, I got passed over at a job with my old company. I got passed over on a promotion. The other gentleman and I were close in age. He was a couple years younger than me. I had a college degree. He never went to college. He was a military vet, and his experience in the military, they valued more than my piece of paper degree.
Yep. Sorry.
But also, like, when I got my degree, I thought I had to get a job in that field.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got a job that paid bills, allowed me to have my own apartment, my own car, but then it wasn't something I liked. It wasn't something I wanted to do,
Sure.
but I felt like I had to do it because of what I went to school for.
Right.
And it's like, I may have, if I hadn't gone and done that, I may have actually chosen something earlier on that I actually enjoyed and had a passion for.
Yep.
And instead, you know, I spent a decade just grinding away, beating myself to death for something I didn't even really want to do, but I felt I had to do it.
Right. Well, I think back in the day, what you're talking about too is everyone's like, well, to get any kind of job, you have to have a degree. It could be underwater fire prevention, and you have a degree in that, that guy's going to top, you know.
We were lied to about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you'll never get a job. And I'm one of those people that I did go to some school, but I was always undecided. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I tried certain things, and it just really never, like, nothing ever really hit hard. And then I kind of fell into an aviation job, and I worked my way up the company without a degree and got years of experience. And then now if I go to switch another job in my industry, because of what I've learned working for that company and being, learning all aspects of aviation. So when I go to look for another job, it's, you know, my job I'm at now, they came after me, and they knew I didn't have a degree, but they know the experience outweighed a piece of paper. And, you know, fortunately, I maybe feel like that's a little more valuable now.
There has been a little bit of correction in the marketplace for that.
Okay.
Towards that.
Yeah. So I'm glad to see that. It's like, because a lot of kids can't afford college, and, you know, and they're like, well, I guess they're going to be working in construction site, which I'm not knocking on the construction, but if it's something they really wanted to do and they feel like they can't because they need a degree. Now, I understand, like, nursing or doctors or lawyers, you got to go to school for that shit. But
yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, but if it's like business management, you know, that's kind of a broader, type of, like, anybody could really, you know, apply for those jobs with or without a degree. But if I had a company, I would always go for people with more experience.
Yeah.
You know, if I had room to get entry level jobs for people that just came out of college that I think would be a good fit, and they could move up in the company and increase their salary over time by proving themselves to me, I would be cool with that too. You know,
So where I work now, my old boss, he had, you know, a couple certificates. He had some initials after his name, you know, on his business card, you know, certificates for that particular industry. And then when my new boss got hired on, my old boss retired, there were some customers that would come up to my new boss and it was like, oh, you know, do you have this certification or that certification? And they went, no, I went to the School of Hard Knocks. Like, I've been in this industry for 20 years. Like, I used to work for a distributor. I worked for an importer. I worked in the restaurant business. And then I ran that business at another place for 13 years. That's my education. That's my certificate of knowledge on this particular field. I've been doing it 20 years.
Yep. I like what Ray was saying in the last couple of comments.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Let's do that. Put Ray up there. No such thing as terrible advice, just terrible decisions. The advice is not the determining factor in your life. You're absolutely right. His other one was, again, being so fascinated across the world with the American politics, including Trump. Topic 2, will a 10 event be held in Greenland next year?
If we do that, hopefully in the summer where it's a little bit warmer.
So the ink's not dry on that. Looks like there might be some progress in that world, but we're not sure about the 10 event where it'll be held. Probably still at Easton.
Use your V cutter.
Yeah. No such thing as terrible advice, just terrible decisions.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, there's
Wrong.
some bad advice out there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, no, I get it. Like, and he's going further down that road, right? The advice is not a determining factor in your life. Take accountability for your life decisions. Absolutely. Absolutely. But there is, I think the worst advice that you can give, and Ray, maybe this will speak to your point there, is just blind advice, unsolicited advice, not based on any other factors. So I think it's more preaching and not figuring out what is needed. If you are basically just telling people this is the way to do it, go to college, as you guys are talking about. What does that person want to do? Is college going to be the right path for that? Yes, take accountability for your life decisions. Unfortunately, you can take accountability for your life decisions, but you could have been fed advice or guidance that led you down a path that was not necessarily suited for you. So you can talk about the fact that, in the US, most high school graduates are in the 17 to 19-year-old age range. Do they know what they want to do the rest of your life? Ray, you being, and I believe you're in your late 50s, maybe early 60s, I would venture to guess that you have had some different life circumstances that has led you down different paths, not only different countries, but different career paths, different relationship paths. So I think that it's, you take accountability after the fact, but I think with this part of the advice side of things, everyone's always growing and changing. You talked about the evolution of, our society in the last topic. With this, we all go through our own, and the things that life hits you with, both good and bad, will alter your state of mind and it'll alter your path. I think like I said, to the topic, to put it back up on the screen there, the advice that people can give that's actually terrible, it's not, I don't think it's, maybe you could probably come up with one or two actual hard, this is what it is, verbatim. But I think on a more general level, I think that it's like I said, the unsolicited advice is, this is what worked for me. This is how you should do it. Or the people that will listen to people with experience and they'll say, well, no, that's not the way. I mean, this is the way. And they don't have the things to back it up. They don't have the credibility to back it up. They're just talking out of their ass, kind of like we do on this podcast sometimes. But I think that, I think it's really the advice to people that they give to other people that's terrible is a one-sided monologue, not a conversation, not a dialogue.
You should do this. You should.
Correct.
Right.
It's this. Now, I will give credit to possibly the generation before us at this table when we were going into the later years of high school and as we were growing up. And again, we're three white guys that grew up in the suburbs, more or less. That was the path. That was what the previous generation, that was it. You had to have a bachelor's degree if you wanted to get the sought after jobs, right? We were kind of in the middle of that. I was, I know, being 45 years old. Yep. It was, you need this so you can get a job that you can then take care of a family, that then you can get the house, that you can get the cars, you can get the picket fence, you can have the 2.4 children, the dog, you know, all of this stuff. That was the path that was the American way at the time for the people, the generation before us, right? That was the trajectory. That's what they had learned. Because when you graduated college or high school in the 60s, right, or maybe even 70s, that was what was needed. That's what was sought after as a candidate for a job, no matter what it is, especially an office job, is that you showed that you could complete college. High school is not enough. Everyone's graduating high school is the way it was looked at. You need to get a 4-year education, right? That was the next step, because you showed that you could finish something. You are growing. You're growing your mind. You're putting yourself up to something that you can complete. So I think it's not always, and I think this goes hand in hand maybe with what Ray was saying also, it's like it is the accountability of how it turns out. But I think as you're growing up and as you are being molded by society, whether it be your local family or it be the society in general, it's not always ill-willed or malicious. It's the fact that I think that you're being molded by your surroundings.
Yeah.
You know, you can't just create from nothing if you didn't know what's going to actually pay bills. You still have to eat, so you need a job. You know, ideally, you find something that you like, but there's plenty of people out there that have, you know, the white collar jobs, the blue collar jobs, and these are all things that they don't necessarily want to wake up in the morning and go do. But that's what you do. It's part of surviving in the modern world.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure that when my dad was in high school, you know, his career path in life, you know, what he wanted to do, and that would be a good question to actually ask my dad next time he comes into the shop. Is, you know, like, when you were in high school, what did you want to do? Because I'm willing to bet it was not be a delivery driver for UPS for 30 years.
No.
And I'm pretty sure when he was 16, that's not what he had in mind for his life. It was just all of a sudden, you know, he's out of high school and now he's got a kid on the way, and he's like, shit, I need to get a job. My dad is actually friends with a manager at UPS. Maybe he can and work that connection. That's how he got on at UPS, because he needed a job to provide for his family. And he did that until he retired. And, you know, and it worked out well for him. You know, I'm sure if you were to ask him, he wouldn't say that he had any regrets from doing that, because it afforded him, you know, the ability to take care of his family and to raise a family and to have a house and, you know, to be able to retire in his 50s. Like, so he doesn't necessarily regret that, but I'm sure there was something else that he wanted to do.
Yeah, I think, but there's a middle ground. I mean, again, growing up, you know, it's, you have to have it. You have to live. And in this world, you have to have money to live. You have to have a job to get money, you know? Yeah. My goal was at one point, hopefully, to be independently wealthy and not have to work. That'd be great. You know, there, unfortunately, there's a part of our country now that wants that still, to not have to work and be able to get everything, but doesn't work that way. So, you know, to your father's point, to all of our points of, like, you know, going to college or, you know, whatever your path is, the one thing that I think is consistent in this day and age is that you have to work. You have to contribute to society so that it will reward you back. Is it always fair? No. Is it your ideal situation? No. Probably not. But it is what you make of it. And, you know, I think that is, take care of yourself, right? You got to be able to put food on the table, put a roof over your head if you can. And unless people are just handing out winning lottery tickets, this is the way it works. Yeah. Whether you're doing UPS, whether you're working in the aviation field, you know, whether you're in the spirits and wine or cigar industry like we are here, you got to do it.
The one thing I want to comment on about this topic, or the question is, you know, about, you know, I've been given terrible advice over the years. I think we can also say that we all have at one point or another. But what I kind of took from that is, maybe it was terrible advice and it didn't work out at the time, but I also learned from that. So now that I have a kid, you know, there were times when they were struggling with something, and sometimes I would take my old school thoughts of what I was told to do and just say, oh, I'll just do this. And then I'm like, and then I talked to my wife, I'm like, maybe that's not the right answer. And then now I'm more like, let me think about it. Let me do some research. Let me figure out what would be a better thing to give advice for. And then, also as you've grown up and you're that person giving advice to somebody that's younger, you've learned a lot over those years with experiences where you can now back up what you're saying and also be kind of like optimistic, or be more like, hey, it wasn't like, it's not what it was, when I was that age, it was a lot different. I need to adjust to what they're going through now to make sure that the terrible advice I give is not terrible. And, I think having, my kiddo, there was just recently, there were some things that they were struggling with. And I took a lot from what I learned just with my job and how you communicate and how you can be a more effective communicator and make your point better. It's like I was able to sit back, think about it, and then almost like just write it all out. And then I would, talk to them about it and say, okay, let's try this. Let's try this. And, and then what was nice about it is I was giving them advice to something they wanted to talk to their mom about. And it was something that was going to be a difficult subject. So I was like, okay, this is something that I've done multiple times in my life. So let's try to approach it with, think about it this way. Think of what she's going to react. Don't be on the offensive. Just be more, state fact. They don't, take emotion out of it. Simple shit like that. But again, when I was 18, I couldn't give somebody that advice, as a kid. But now I can take what I've learned and take the good things and even the bad things to say, this is what I've learned. This is and I don't think the other, when we were younger, I think a lot of times, your parents are like, well, you just need to do this. Well, you have to do this. And I don't think it's almost giving just kind of a bullshit, kind of a bland answer. Whereas now it's like, I like to try to make Molly think, if you're going to make a decision, let's discuss it. And I want you to also think about it. And then we can come up with some ideas together. And I feel like that's a lot more effective than just, someone saying, you need to do this. Because a lot of times people are very, like Molly is a very strong little kid. If I approach them like that, they tell me to fuck off. And then like I'm not going to do it just because you're blasting it out at me, So I don't know. I think it sucks that it happened to us, and it may still happen to us down the road, but take from that and learn from it and be able to move forward and give, pay it back or give it back, but in a better way of doing things.
Yeah. Teach critical thinking is what you're describing.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you think we should do?
There's a lost art there.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's go round 3 here.
Yep.
Is loyalty rare, or are expectations unrealistic? Sean,
Ray, you want to start?
Well,
anyone else?
No,
I remember my comment to you when you read this one off. Like I kind of chuckled, just like I did just now.
Yeah.
Because I was like, if you're being loyal to someone, like there shouldn't be an unrealistic expectation that you're loyal to that person. Like if you become friends with somebody, it should not be unrealistic that person thinks you won't stab them in the back or talk bad about them behind their back. That goes with the territory of being loyal.
Right.
And so, you have these friend groups where it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that person would say that about me. It's like, well, that person was never truly loyal. Like if they were, that wouldn't have happened.
Right.
I think sometimes we put too much trust into too many people not deserving of our trust, kind of because we want a relationship, like we want a connection, we want a friendship. So sometimes we allow too much. But someone who like we actually want to befriend or have a relationship, like if you start a relationship, like a dating relationship with a person, like it should be expected that neither party cheats on the other. That's just to be expected because that comes with that territory.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's unrealistic to expect that.
No, but people are human and they make mistakes and they fall. And, especially in a relationship type of thing, if it's new, I think that sometimes, like I'm almost loyal to a fault to people. Like I always, like a buddy of mine, and I mentioned this before. It's like you have your daily friends, and you have your 3 o'clock in the morning friends, and the 3 o'clock in the morning friends are the ones that would get up in the middle of the night and go to your house to make sure would be there for you. You know, that's to me, like those are, I can probably name or list off in one hand those kind of friends, and I consider that where the loyalty is really there. But it doesn't mean that down the road, you know, you have an argument and you're pissed off, and then somebody asks you and you're like, why are you so upset? Well, so-and-so, he's fucking blah, blah, blah. Now you're talking behind their back. But it's a situation where in a friendship or relationship, you're not always going to get along. It's how you can, work out the conflicts and discuss. But I think if you're loyal, you're willing to be more accepting of what they're saying. And then in turn, you're able to say, well, hey man, I didn't feel comfortable with that. And you can talk it out in a certain way and maybe come to an agreement, you know? But you know, that's one of those where it's just, for me, there's not that many people that I consider there's a loyalty there. I mean, I have a lot of friends that are great and I love them, and I'm not talking bad about them, but I don't spend as much time with them. You know, when we're together, if I see some people at the shop that I know and I consider friends, they're not friends like these two and a couple other guys that I know in my life and my wife, you know? So, and I think too, is once you become loyal and with each other, then there's, you know, you can also be like, well, I hope I didn't offend him when I said this or blah, blah, blah. And so you got to be able to say, like, you know, if you fuck up, you own up to it and you admit it. And I think that also strengthens a relationship. So those are some of the thoughts I was having with it.
I like that. Clip that for sure.
Yeah.
I think expectations, depending on what they are, they can be unrealistic. And then I think if, you know, you can also go the other route and be really callous when it comes to loyalty, and you can just have no expectations and, you know, basically close off. I think loyalty is consistently earned. I think that the blind loyalty or expecting someone to be loyal no matter what that's unrealistic. I think that your actions and the other party's actions, it is a consistent effort for loyalty to be earned every day. This is not something that you should be loyal no matter what I do. I should be loyal no matter what you do. You look at it in the business world, right? You know, you're going to have loyalty on both sides of it, whether you're the employee, employer, sometimes, you know, part of the loyalty, it doesn't, like, if you have an employee that moves on from your company because the opportunity is greater elsewhere, that's a good thing. It's unfortunate, but that's a good thing. Mm-hmm. I think if you are always expendable at a company and you feel like you aren't valued there, that's earned as well, just based on actions. But with business, it's a little different. In the personal world, I think it's truly, as I said, you earn the loyalty from the other party through your actions, and you hope that your actions are coinciding with the efforts from the other party, and that's, I think, where you create the loyalty. It's not something that you just enter into an agreement or a partnership,
right? And
that, whether it be a business relationship, a personal relationship, a marriage, this is not something that the ink is dry, we're good from here on out, no matter what. No. I think loyalty is rare because of that. I think that you do have your individual people that you were talking about, Sean, yep, that have that because you put the effort in, they put the effort in.
Yep.
It doesn't necessarily have to be a day-to-day where you're checking in all the time,
right?
But they know that you're there, and when they ask for your help, or they are there for you when you need help, there's consistency there.
Yep.
I think consistency and the effort that's put in is when loyalty is deserved and expected.
Mm-hmm.
If you're putting everything in to something and you expect that person to be loyal, when they break your trust or the loyalty that you're expecting from them, there have been signs that wasn't the case. When you look back at it, you're like, this does make sense. It hurts, but it makes sense.
Or one side's always giving, one side's always taking. That's another thing that'll sometimes hurt that trust.
That's
a little
exactly
bit.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
That's
one,
not loyalty.
yeah, I'm one of those people that
Friendship or relationship out of convenience is not loyalty.
Correct.
in my
Put it on a t-shirt.
in my careers, you know, for the last 20 years, I am at fault for being too loyal to an employer. Because I look at it as that company gave me an opportunity. That person gave me an opportunity. They're also the one, signing my paycheck. And when things aren't going well, when I feel like I'm being taken advantage of, I still just stick with it. No matter how unhappy I was like, well, no, like
Those are the signs, though.
yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
And
you look back at it, you're like, oh wait, no,
I probably should have made a change sooner. So sometimes I have put myself in I haven't put myself in a bad position. I stayed in a bad situation longer than I should have because of that loyalty aspect that I had, where knowing, that other party never would have had that same loyalty to me.
it's undeserved loyalty.
Yeah.
Wow, that topic went quick.
Yeah, I thought it'd be a little more. No,
Maybe I went too hard on that one.
no, and there's other friends that are like that are I consider loyal to them and them to me, but I don't see them as often. I mean, case in point is we all know Shannon. He's one of my really good friends too, and
When someone buys a Winnebago,
decides to travel
doesn't have an address,
yeah. So
tough to stay with.
but we pick up from where we leave off,
100%.
and I know that at any given moment, whereas if I was struggling with like something that I needed somebody's help with, he'd be one of the first persons I go to, and he would respond instantly. And that's another aspect of friendship that I'm fortunate to have with certain people that, even time away for months at a time and we don't even talk, we can pick up from where we leave off and know that we would be there in a minute. And I feel the same way towards him and some other people. And it's nice to have, and it's also, I mean, I love having friends that they're within my 5 mile, 10 mile radius that I can still go see. But there's those ones that are kind of further away that you can still make it work. And,
We have the technology going back.
Yeah.
Full circle right there.
and you know what? And a lot of times I, in the past, have not taken advantage of my friend's loyalty or taken advantage just to get help with certain things because I was just didn't think I was worthy. And I think that can hurt you too. If you're looking inward, you can be loyal to a friend, but when you never say, my joke is now that I used to say, don't worry about me. I'll do whatever you need. Not really funny joke. I know. Well, yeah, it's not really a funny joke, but
not a ha funny.
Okay. Yeah. Ironic. Don't you think?
Just a banger, man.
Isn't it?
A great song.
Yeah. But like that can also affect the friendship where it's like your friend's like, hey man, I've been seeing you struggling. Yeah. I've been having a really rough time. It's like, well, you don't kick them where they're down and be like, why don't you reach out? It's like, but there's a way to approach it. Say, hey dude, I'm here. Just remember you've got people in your corner that are here. If you need, you got to be able to step up and ask for that help. So it kind of goes, both ways in the sense of, we kind of look at it as like, I'm going to be loyal to my friends and they're going to be loyal to me, but like you have to be willing to be vulnerable enough to say, I need help when I need it. And I think that is another aspect for maybe a lot of people like, oh, I don't want to inconvenience them. I think I brought it up last week or whatever, but I was in the hospital at midnight and found out they found nodules in my lungs and I'm like losing my shit. But back then I was like, well, I don't want to bug anybody, but it could have really fucking helped me get through it if I'd have just called one of you guys, one of my tight friends and said, hey man, I'm struggling here. I know if it would have been the other way around, I would have gotten a call, I'd have gotten up and be like, where are you? I can be there. Or if you just want to talk, I'm going to do it. So, make yourself available to be vulnerable for the friends that are loyal.
That's very well said.
Yeah.
Well, I think sometimes with that, we have the fear that if some people go through more hardships than others, it's not always fair. It's not always balanced.
Sure.
And, there are those times where if we start going through some stuff, we start reaching out to those people that are close to us. And sometimes we might still have things that compound that. We have new issues, or, there's always something that seems to be happening or something that's coming up. Like we're always, we all know that one person it seems like they're always going through something.
Mm-hmm.
And most of us, I would hope, don't have that attitude of, my gosh, that person's always they're always reaching out to me. Like, oh my gosh, why are they always reaching out to me to fix their problems? But I think when we have that attitude, that's what makes some people not reach out. Flip side, that person can also, like Sean was talking about, be guilty of, man, I'm always going to these guys. I'm always going to this friend when I'm going through something. I'm always reaching out to this person when things are going bad or if I'm dealing with something. Like, I'm afraid that person thinks I'm a burden. I don't want to reach out to him anymore if I'm going through something. And then all of a sudden, we're struggling. We don't even talk to that person for a little bit. And also that person reaches out like, hey man, it's been a while. Like, things going all right? No, like things have been shit. Well, how come you're just now telling me? Well, because I didn't want to bug you again. Because that was the last time we talked, I was going through something. And hopefully that person's like, well, yeah, like we're friends. That's why you reach out to me.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I may not have reached out to you, but maybe that's because I wasn't going through something. You're going through something.
Yeah.
Like it's not a tit for tat.
Right.
There's not a scale necessarily in that. Now,
yeah.
It's one thing if you're being taken advantage of, but reaching out for help, just to talk about an issue or you need some advice about something, that's not draining necessarily that person emotionally. That's not taking something away from that person other than a few minutes of their time and thoughts.
Right.
But if there's truly a relationship, a friendship there with that person, like that person wants the best of you and the best from you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not there, they're like, all right, cool. Like, let's figure out what you need to do. And let's figure out if there's any ways I can help you.
Do you know what's ironic about that? It's like, now I'm going to say ironic all the time. No, but it's
like rain.
Yeah, on a wedding day. Fuck,
wedding
man.
Day.
Yeah.
That was a terrible wedding.
So it's also
days, good luck, I heard.
It's also responsible.
Wasn't for that one.
Children.
What's she doing now? You think? No, go ahead. Sorry.
Jesus
I
Christ.
can tell you.
So give these motherfuckers some Ritalin right now. All right. So yeah, I think it's also a responsibility of the person that is going through shit, if they feel like that they're always bugging them, is to reach out to the friend that you know is loyal to you and to be honest with you and say, hey man, I've been reaching out to you a lot lately. I'm sorry I've been doing that. I really have been struggling. It's not, you're somebody I can really rely upon. And I think even if that person maybe has those thoughts of, yeah, he has been doing that. But if you come out and own it and say, listen, dude, I know I've been asking a lot. You're my go-to, man. You're the person that I really can feel comfortable discussing this with. And if it's too much, just let me know. Because if you're in that side of a relationship, you want to have that open and free communication. And that's a key thing, just any relationship, whether it's your friends or your wife or whatever, that is so key. And I've said it before in previous shows. It's like, if you don't say anything, no one's going to know how you're feeling. So unless because you're not with them on a day-to-day basis, like your family is. So if you don't hear from your friend in a few weeks and all of a sudden all shit blows up, it's like, hey, next time when you're doing this, please call me and don't, and I'll even say, don't feel like you're bugging me and all that bullshit. That's a bullshit excuse. Fucking call me. Now you got the green light to be like, all right, you asked for it.
Yeah. You have to be willing to be receptive for when that person reaches out, regardless of whether or not you can necessarily be beneficial in that situation or not. I've mentioned it before, years ago, Steve was going through some stuff and we were working together on Saturday nights. And so at the end of the night, Steve and I are having a cigar together and, Steve just starts unloading, what he's going through and what he's thinking and how he's feeling. And, I'm sitting there going, holy shit, I feel bad because I've not gone through that situation. I don't think I can help Steve. But then I also came to the realization, like, Steve doesn't need my life experiences or help to get him
He doesn't
through
want the
it.
problem solved.
Steve needs me to just be there
Be
for him
present.
to talk to and
So
get it out.
you brought that up a lot of times, and I appreciate that time you were there. This is what I've been trying, listening to you guys. What comes to mind was what I had said about the loyalty is earned consistently, right? Yes, we have friendships where, you know, like you pick up where you left off, right?
Sure.
You bring that up, not all the time, Nate, but you bring that up, and it was a very important time in our friendship and in my life. And I'll use myself as an example. When you're struggling, and I am one that I've worked on it, that you do express, to your friends that, you're struggling with something.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on the fact that when you are there for someone when they are struggling, that there's an open line of communication, there's more effort put in, rightfully so, if you have value in that friendship or in that relationship. When it's quiet, you assume things are good, and there is no effort. Now, granted, life gets in the way, and you have that where you kind of have that distance in that relationship. But I think that's where I know I can get better at it, and I think a lot of people can get better at it, is that they're not necessarily expectations like that's on the screen there, but is there more effort that can be made, not to check in, hey, how you doing, but just to spend more time with that person. You only put the effort in as a friend and when they are expressing it, but to hit both sides of it is that you can have a stronger sense of loyalty if there is more consistency on earning that loyalty on a day-to-day, weekly, whatever the periodic time is, not only when that person is struggling. Because, Nate, you brought up like someone that's always struggling and all that stuff is you have to devote a lot of your energy to that, and it becomes exhausting. But on the good times, hopefully the quiet times, they're not expressing all that stuff. Is there more to that relationship that could be beneficial before the next bad time? Or to your point, Sean, is that I think Sean or Nate, I think you both hit up when someone is quiet and you finally talk to them and they're like, no, I have been struggling. You know what I mean? It's like you almost assume that when it's quiet, things are good, which is the time that you probably should spend more time together when things are good. Which ironically is not, ironically, it's not what happens. It's everyone just kind of goes on cruise control, and then one or the other party will reach out when things aren't good, or if they are struggling and they haven't reached out, you just assume things are good, and therefore you have no real sense of communication or any indication of how life is going with them. You just assume things are good.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to pry.
Right.
I mean, just
that's a tricky one.
Well, it's tricky. I mean, I think it's more, I brought it up before several times where it's like I have friends in my life that it's like you haven't seen them in a while, or you're living life, they're living life, and they don't reach out. And you're like, so how's everything going? It's fine. What have you been up to? Work, sleeping. Cool. Like, yeah, I'd like to go do stuff. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
What level? Like, yeah, should I initiate this contact? Like, do you want to go do something? Like get together. But I mean, we've talked about that a lot on here before. But I mean, like Nate, again, very valuable time in my life for that. But it brings up like when things were going better in my life, I wasn't bringing that drama or the sense of urgency to the table. So therefore, everyone kind of just goes back into their own modes.
Sure.
And I wonder if the loyalty part of it would be stronger if there's more effort on a day-to-day basis, not necessarily be like, hey, good morning. You're like, hey, have a good day. I'm not saying that yet. Yeah, it's more of, I don't know. Putting more effort in there.
Maybe it's like, hey, start planning for the next time we're going to get together.
Yes.
Hey, man, I'm talking to you, or it's been a couple days, couple weeks, whatever. You have free to this whatever day. It's going to be nice out when I have a cigar and a fire. Something like that, even. Like,
yeah, I mean, like Kristen and I are in the age right now where most of our friends either have kids or having kids, or they have their set lives and all that stuff. And it's like we have found that it's not the, hey, what are you doing tonight? Friendships. It's the, hey, let's get dinner. What
2 weeks from now.
Friday? 2 weeks. Try 2 months. You know what I mean? Sometimes. I mean, it takes that effort to do that, to put it on there, because then when you do finally get to that date, you've all set it aside to the point where you go out to dinner, you have people over, you do something, you go to a concert, you do, whatever it might be, and you look forward to it.
Yep.
And there's that effort that hopefully when you get together, things are good still.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if they aren't, you have that type of friendship or relationship that you can actually express that things aren't, but you put it on the calendar in a sense. You put the effort in there, that you don't have the expectations being unrealistic, that it's like you literally are going to see them all the time, because you get to an age where life is full, that you can get to the point where you make an effort to be involved in the lives of people that you care about and that you're loyal to, so that you have those kind of enjoyable moments, hopefully, or occasions that are those kind of check-in points. You know what I mean? This podcast has turned out, for the three of us over the years, and many other people that have been involved in the Bourbon and BS podcast, this has been the check-in for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's something to go do. We talk about it with cigar events and stuff like that. A lot of times, like even when Brian, the owner of the shop, and I, like when we do some of these events, on like Fido's patio, it's like, it's just another night. Like no one wants to, like Brian always has that. It's like, it's not a big deal, like all this stuff. And then you hear from some of the customers and the attendees of the events, just like, man, I've been looking forward to this. When's your next one? They need something on a calendar. People don't like, they're so bogged down in their everyday life in a good way. Hopefully a lot of times it's just, you have the responsibilities of your waking moments, that the people that are important to you, that you're loyal to, and you hope they're loyal to you. It's not just they'll be loyal when I need them. That's what I was kind of saying earlier, where it's like, it's an earned loyalty by effort.
Right. It's funny how, or ironic how,
don't you think?
Yeah, it's especially people with kids nowadays, like they've got their kids in like 15 different sports all at once. So they're always like, I got to take them to practice, and the other one needs to go here. And then, it's like, then I got to work, and then I got to do this, and then I got to do this. And all of a sudden, like you said, you got to plan 2 months out. And then you get the times where you do that, and like, oh, sorry, I forgot. We had a parent teacher conference that night. We can't get out of it. And to them, it's more just like oh, yep, got to cancel that. No big deal. And then you've got the other person like missing that person and wanting to spend time with. And I've had it where like I've tried to do birthday parties at my house for like when I turned 50 in certain years, and just to come over and have us, I'll put 2 or 3 weeks ahead. And apparently I should have done it months ahead, but like 2 or 3 weeks ahead, and people are like, yeah, I should be able to go. And then all of a sudden now I have like 5 people show instead of the 20 I was hoping to like reconnect with. And I understand life gets in the way, but a lot of times people don't even give you the common courtesy to say, hey, I can't make it tonight. They just don't fucking show up.
Agreed.
And that's the kind of shit. Like I quit having get-togethers because it seemed like every time I did, I was getting blown off by everybody. But I also, at the same time, the people that did show up were people that were like, like the Shannons of the world. And this is probably before I really knew you guys more, when I was doing stuff like this.
The people that showed up were the ones that you really wanted to show up. Like you were
an awkward person, and you're like, it was like a kind of a pity invite, and they showed up and stay late. You're like,
yeah, I've had that too. Where it's like me and 2 other people.
Got an early morning.
Yeah.
And I thought you said you're off tomorrow. Yeah.
Be around the house.
Yeah.
But I just it's
gotta feed the hogs in the morning.
Yeah. But I guess you got to go on the realization that you can't rely on everybody all the time. Even your closest friends, your wife, your parents, they're going to disappoint you down the road. And it's how you handle it, whether you just let it go, or if it really bums you out and affects you. It's like, hey man, I'm really bummed. You don't have to be a dick about it. You can be like, man, I was sure looking forward to seeing you the other day, and just bummed you couldn't make it. And oh yeah, well, we had this. Okay, well, next time I ain't fucking inviting you. Because to them it's just a little side blip in their busy schedule, whereas to you it's important. And like I just I don't want to create a scene or cause any more tension as it is. I usually let it go, because it's one of those people that maybe I ever thought were really tight, and we don't spend much time, and I was like you said, hoping to spend time with them. And I understand life gets in the way, and especially with young kids and stuff. And it's hard to like really manage your time there's always you set certain things up, and then, when a kid gets involved, shit can go sideways and within a matter of minutes. So I understand that, but it's the one thing that always really bugged me though is just be open or just communicate to me. Hey dude, can't make it. Kids throwing up. Yeah, I totally get that. But to just ghost you is like, and I'm guilty of probably doing it at times too.
We all are.
Yeah. But
the expectations be unrealistic, especially if the expectations are unknown.
Yeah. I like that.
I've got a few guys that I game with online on a regular basis.
Yep.
And so the other day, one of the guys I game with it was pretty much every single day, certain time, like we're online together, we're playing the same game, like we're just we're waiting for one another to get online. And he would message me, he's like, hey, I'm not going to be able to get on tonight. I'm like, all right, that's fine, thanks for letting me know. And so now I go back to watching a movie or something like that. And then 2 nights in a row, I was like, hey, I'm not going to be on tonight either. And I actually was like, you all right? Like, is everything okay? Yeah, just, kids got a bunch of activities. It's late when I get home. I'm exhausted. Like, all right. Like, I just want to make sure. Like, I've never met this person, but I'm like, all right. I just like, all right, cool. Like, as long as, I don't want to necessarily take time away from your family because that's more important than us doing this. But like, I just want to make sure, like, okay, like things are all right. And then the next time we finally get online together, it's like, hey, cool. Missed this. Like, this is something that, I look forward to on a regular basis. We haven't had it, in a week. Like, all right, just as long as everything's good, as long as family's good, you're good. Like, all right, cool. Let's have some fun. And it's funny how sometimes we can have that type of relationship with with someone online we haven't met, and then we have a harder time having that same kind of relationship with people that live in the same city as us.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you communicate with them sometimes more than people, in your day-to-day lives, and just because that's hobbies and things like that. I think I'm gonna put them back up there. So this one is loyalty rare or are expectations unrealistic, right? What advice do people give that is actually terrible? And then, is modern life making people softer or just tired? Closing remarks based on the conversation tonight. And it doesn't have to be in order, but anyone want to start?
I think you can somewhat combine some of those, with the loyalty and then the advice, and then, well, not necessarily the tired part, but I think that there's a lot of things that, people and myself included, oh shit. Okay. Well, I just got called out by Chris.
I won't put it up because I don't know.
I will, Chris, I will discuss that with you later. And I apologize for that, dude. And that's something that I'm going to own. And this is I'm glad he did post it, because this is something that I'm guilty of. And I am one of the first people to, and if I fuck up, I'll admit it.
You said family member?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, oh, wait, she said,
where a family member didn't
show up. I thought you were talking about me.
No, are you related?
Related?
No, but
okay, there you go. It's not you.
But I've gone to his party before, and there's times where he's invited me and I just couldn't go. And I mentioned that too. Never mind. Anyway, well, I still apologize for not going to your parties when I was invited. And
we have Chris on the line right now.
Yeah. Oh shit. Oh shit. Yeah. So I think Chris is a good dude. I used to work with him at Amazon, and he was probably it was my best friend in that industry. And he's a great, solid guy. He moved to Michigan, unfortunately, so I don't get to hang with him that much.
Yeah, right.
But anyway, with the closing remarks, though, it's like, I think it's just being a little more aware of, like with the friendship part, like just, there are times where you're going to disappoint and let people down or not communicate. And not you, man. Okay. Still love you, Chris, no matter what. Even if I did fuck up, I'm sorry. No, but
we'll talk.
Yeah, I'll talk to you later. Anyway, but it's like,
straighten
we'll talk me off the ledge. But I think that it's bringing these topics up are good because it makes you aware of things that I think we all fall into certain patterns where we can either be lazy or tired or, whatever. And then when it comes to friendships, it's a good kind of reminder for all of us to like be aware of some of the things that we brought up in terms of how you live your life and how you want those people to fit in your life. And communication is a big key for that. And that's something I like to learn from lessons that I've been brought to my attention, or I've lived through, or I've seen it, or in a discussion like this, where it's one of those things that I try to remember that. And so moving forward, I try to learn and make more of an effort to move in a more positive direction. And then, like I said, I think with the whole people giving bad advice to me, it's like when you get older, you become a little wiser when people start telling you certain things and you're like, yeah, sure, I'll check that out. And it's like, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So you get older, you get wiser, so you know what's legit and what isn't. But it's all about just being self-aware, being more communicative with the people you love and you're close to, and not being afraid to reach out, or just like you said, to reach out just to get together, or to make sure that, hey, I'm here if you're struggling. You can only do so much when it comes to that, but the more you reiterate that, the easier it will be for that person to do down the road if they are struggling. So all you guys out there, it's the same thing.
I think there's a lot of people in your life that you would like to hang out with or like to spend time with, either on the phone or, like you just said, it's Chris, who immediately you read that, like, oh shit. Well, it's like, I'm not saying you have to call Chris in the morning, but you might, I don't know.
No,
no, I'm just kidding. But it is the effort, because I think everyone gets benefit from that, including yourself.
Yeah.
It gets you out. Again, it takes effort for yourself or your family or whatever it might be, but it takes effort for you to experience some of those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, I agree. And I think it takes you out of the daily rut that people can fall into, and it's like, to me, like I mentioned earlier, I used to sit for hours and smoke cigars and drink bourbon out on my patio for hours at a time. And I got so used to it that I didn't even really realize it until finally I had this chance to step back. And it's not easy to change things like that, because once you fall into that habit, it becomes a natural thing for you to do. But then you have to sit back and realize, okay, how is this benefiting me? How is this benefiting my family? It's not. And then it got to the point where I was drinking so much and smoking so much, it was affecting the way I lived with my job and my job performance and my health. And so, just getting up and like, you feel like you have a day where it's the same shit. It's like, fucking go drive to work a different way, or,
wear two different socks.
Yeah.
Switch something.
Yeah.
I say that just because something trivial.
Yeah. Just break up that same pattern, because once you do, you start looking at life in a different way. You start looking things like, oh, wow, I could have been doing this a long time ago. Well, can't do anything about that now, but move forward and try those things. So I'm going to end it there, because I could fucking talk all night about it.
It's fine. I was going to say just on that is that I have learned there is a fine line between comfort and complacency.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that put it on a t-shirt. Clip it. No, but it's the fact that you get that comfort, right? And things are good, but you do it too long. And it's going back to what I was saying about the loyalty, is that the comfort almost might be a little bit of a stretch to some, but the comfort should be continuously earned as well. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't, I think that if you're not putting effort into enjoying that level of comfort in your life, where you're at in your job and your personal health journey, your relationships, your living situations, all of that stuff, at some point, if you aren't paying attention, I feel as though that comfort slides right into the complacency, because it's expected now, much like that loyalty. The expectations of your daily life that was what you were striving for, you have to put effort into enjoying that level of comfort, the level that you're at, whatever the avenue or the venue that you are in talking about, or say you are at 100% right now, you wake up in the morning, you're happy, all that stuff. But as soon as you take it for granted, it slides into the complacency. You're no longer earning it, and now you are expecting it. And at that point, you lose your drive, you lose the level of effort you're putting in that got you to that point. Yeah. It's not always looking forward or looking towards the next step or the next level or the next achievement or the next whatever. It's simply, if this is where you're at, enjoy it. But again, it's as sad as it is to say, you have to put some energy towards enjoying it. Don't just sit and rest on your laurels. You have to get to that point where you keep it at that comfort or the hunger to the next one, wherever you're at. But as soon as it slides into the complacency in the relationship, the friendship, the job, the living arrangement, your health, that's where it gets, I think, to a dangerous moment where if that goes too long, now it brings in the side effects. It brings in the negativity. It brings in the boredom. It brings in the lack of enthusiasm that you're not putting into it. That's where we'll call it the side effects of the happiness.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I'm at this point, great, I achieved it, all that stuff. It's like now you're just basically waiting to die.
Yeah.
No, man.
It's so easy.
Not necessarily literally, but in a sense, you're just like, I'm on cruise control.
Yeah.
And all the things that you did to get you to that point, no matter, again, what the aspect of your life is, that starts fading. It starts eroding because you're not putting the building blocks that you put in to get to that point.
Yep.
You're no longer building, you're slowly eroding away. And it doesn't take a whole lot of time that you start feeling it, the people around you start feeling it, whether it be your job, your employer, whatever it is, whether it be your significant other, whether it be your kids, whether it be, your friends, whatever it might be. You see it in the mirror, you see it all the time. You wake up and then all of a sudden it's everything that we talked about tonight. You start getting soft. You start like fading away. Your expectations are no longer realistic because you're just expecting things to be there without doing anything.
Well said. I like that. That's an excellent point there. I think that even if you're doing things that are benefiting you health-wise, it's like you still got to keep trying to just try new things, switch it up. Even if, because like you said, you fall into like let's say I want to start lifting, but I'm going somewhere that didn't have all the shit, and now I'm like, fuck, I don't even know if I want to go now because hardly nothing is available, whatever. But it's doing something to benefit you. But now you're going to start dreading those things, and then you stop it. It's like, all right, well, if it's not working, shift gears, go try another path, but yeah, that's something.
If it is working, keep at it.
Yeah. But I think another thing I've learned over especially the past few months with counseling is it helps me a lot to stay present. It allows me to focus on what I can control or what I can do at that moment. Yeah, you can look ahead and say, all right, tomorrow I'd like to try something different. But then if you start to look too far ahead or dwell on the past, or like when I say looking ahead, it's called projecting. It's like, well, if I try that, I'm probably going to do this and it's going to be like this and then blah, blah, blah. And then you give up before you even start. It's like, you don't know that. You don't know certain things you're going to go do that it's going to suck or it's not. I mean, you think it will, and now you've made up your mind not even do certain things to better yourself. So it's like, it's taking that, like that, what I want to say is like that first like risky step to try something that's not the norm. And it's hard. I mean, trust me, dude, it's
fear of the unknown.
Yeah. And it's very difficult to break that, even in jobs. I remember I had a friend that I used to work with. She's like, I hate change. So as soon as somebody comes in and like switches certain things around, she starts stressing for like weeks and just is so, and like, doesn't even want to try the changes because she's so afraid of it.
That's like why
for change's sake, you know what I mean?
Right.
But that's like why when I said I used to sometimes be loyal to a fault to an employer, it was also because I hated the aspect of job searching and interviewing and starting something new.
Yeah, what do you want to do with your life?
Yeah,
like 40 something.
Exactly. Yeah. And like that was one of those reasons why sometimes I was like, nope, it's more comfortable to just stay here, even though I'm a little bit miserable.
Yeah.
I don't want to go through the job hunt and the being rejected.
That's the complacency, I think.
Yeah.
That's your complacency.
Yeah.
Not yours. I'm saying,
No, I get it.
Nate, that's you.
No.
Knock it out. No.
No, I know. For me, I'm not going to use the word ironic. I'm going to use the word hypocrisy. I think it is. I think it's.
Hypocrisy.
I think it's. With what we've talked about tonight, it's hypocritical that when when we sit there and we talk about how we are there for other people, like, hey, if you're going through something, reach out to me. Like, I want to be there to help you, let you know you've got someone you can lean on. But then it's hypocritical on us when we then turn around and we are going through something and we don't reach out to those same people because we don't want to inconvenience them. We never thought that person coming to us with their issues and their struggles was a burden, but yet we feel it's a burden when we go to them.
Yeah. Speaking my language, man.
Exposing yourself like that, though, is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's always not.
It is. No, it is uncomfortable.
For most people, it's easier to talk with or talk to someone about issues that aren't yours.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to give advice, to take advice. It's a lot easier to be the listening ear than it is to expose yourself.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's like when you can listen to everyone else in class give answers, but when you get called upon by the teacher and you're not really that outgoing person, you're unsure.
Yeah.
You just don't make eye contact with the teacher.
Yeah. Well,
you know what I mean?
That
they call on you and you're like, fuck.
That makes me think to my senior year English class. Our test was we had to get up in front of the class and the teacher was going to ask us 2 questions based on what we were reading. And, my reputation being who I was as a student, I get up there and I remember it clear as day. The teacher asked me a question and I had to sit there and think about it. And I remember looking into the classroom at one of my classmates. His eyes all of a sudden became like saucers. He got this giant wide-eyed look like, holy shit, Nate doesn't have an answer. Nate's the smart kid in class and he doesn't have an answer to this question.
I love it.
And then all of a sudden the answer came in and I started delivering the answer and that kid's like, holy shit. Like,
pulled that one out of his ass.
Well, not just that. He's like, oh my gosh, that guy does have an answer to this question. Fuck. I thought the teacher had him. And like, there was a disappointment in my classmate that I didn't know the answer to the question. And then I was like, no, here's a great example. I didn't tell anyone that I learned that. I didn't tell anyone that I learned that example from a movie, but it got me a passing grade on that test.
There you go, man. You've been a great bullshitter ever since.
Thank you to the movie Renaissance.
Hey, Kuzio, I see you're watching. Haven't talked to you in a long time. Tell Joe I said, hey, if you see him, tell him to come watch the show too.
What he said.
Yeah.
Anything else, guys?
No,
I just want to thank everyone for watching. This is great. Sean, thank you for joining the team.
Oh, it's an honor. I thank you for inviting me. I appreciate you guys letting me be part of it. I'm very excited, very motivated to get this thing launched. More. We're already coming up with some ideas that we discussed, so I'm excited.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you guys ever want to host it at your garage, let me know.
It's a little tighter than this one, but we can give it a shot. I'll tell you what, if it's
you're gonna have to load everything in your trunk, Steve.
If it's nice enough, we can do it on our patio outside. I mean, it's easy enough.
Gotta get the lighting.
Yeah.
No, but I want to thank all you guys. I do want, for those listening, just another shout out for you guys doing the Patreon thing. Patreon.com/bourbonbs podcast. Thank you, Tinder Box at Easton, Columbus, Ohio, and Altadis USA. Great support from them. Cigar Company, as always. The gold and silver are some of the great ones. Very proud of those. Yep. And then buyjack.com/bourbonbs. Maybe that's something we do in 2026. We come up with a couple new things that I'll reach out to those guys over there. Maybe come up with some new swag.
I think hoodies would be awesome. I love hoodies.
I mean, like those.
Well, like pullover hoodies with the pockets, the full pockets in the front.
Yeah.
I think those would be great.
The reason they're all zip ups because I prefer zip ups, so we can do a hoodie.
I can mix it out, man.
No, that's fine. Whatever.
Do whatever Sean says.
Speaking of our sponsor, Altadis, this H. Upman Cameroon I've been smoking for part 2
love it.
Is in a Lonsdale.
Oh,
how I have missed this size of a cigar. I wish more companies did their blends in Lonsdale. I understand
they don't sell.
It doesn't sell very well, but oh my gosh, the the smoke ability and enjoyment from this size. I absolutely love the size of a cigar.
And Sean, what do you think of the Aging Room Sonata?
Oh, I love it. I've had it before, and
You're smoking at the band right there.
Yeah, I am. I like to do it and watch you guys freak out. It's so funny when I get down to the band where it's starting to possibly burn, and people are like,
Starts tasting different.
they're like, "So you gonna take the band off?" I'm like, "No, I'm not. Just to fuck with you." It drives them nuts.
It's like Kramer on the test drive.
But
take it down to E.
yeah, but no, I'm so grateful to be a part of this. I've for the last 7 or 8 years, I've been usually as in the back in the audience, and I've been on the shows quite a bit, but to be able to now step up front and be a part of it. And I think we have a good chemistry, and I'm looking forward to what we can do down the road.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Luckily I didn't move too far away.
Yeah. Thank God. Not going to walk home drunk anymore though. It sucks.
You have to actually be a responsible adult.
Yeah.
Not somewhat.
Mm.
You can always Uber. We got a couple spare bedrooms.
Okay.
Just text your wife.
No.
But yeah, guys, thank you very much. Happy Whiskey Wednesday. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Anything in the meantime, join the Facebook group, like on Instagram and Facebook, Bourbon BS Podcast, and then also the Bourbon and BS community page is something that I'd like to also kind of get some more life into for 2026. So should be a good year. Hopefully you guys, wherever you're at, if you're in the U.S. especially, we got some snow coming, a big storms coming through. So be safe this weekend and enjoy the rest of January. We'll see you guys in a couple weeks, guys. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.